Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
So that I give him up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Jan-Krzysztof and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it because you were in Thailand during all the match and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the two kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
It's a big pleasure to welcome both of you, and I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind the scenes insights. See you then.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with AirThings.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Krzysztof Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses.
This is John. John loves to study chess. This is David. David loves to study chess as well, but efficiently. John spends more time setting up the board and figuring out what's on the page of his book than he gets to study. David likes to take it easy and use his time wisely. David has finished his exercise for today. John should try the same.
Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game and get paired with players from around the world fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
I'm ahead of the game. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me, I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging, I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy, logically, I'm impossibly wanted, and they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
I kept Chessable a secret for 3 years at least, and I was using it for myself. And I, maybe never expected how big it would become.
I have always been into games, and I think games are fun ways to pass your time. Sometimes they can be educational as well, but I think chess is the perfect game that has it all. It's a game that not only entertains you, but also teaches you about life skills, from things like time management to the consequences of your moves or your actions. Once you make a move, you cannot take it back. I really fell in love with the game. And of course, given my competitive nature, I wanted to get better at it. And I found it extremely difficult after watching countless videos and reading some books. You would put in all that effort, and then when you get to the board, it's like it all disappeared, it all vanished, and you performed at the exact same level you were before that. And I looked around for a solution that could perhaps use the latest technology, the latest learning science out there to help you learn chess, and there was nothing. So that's how the idea was born. I've been building things since I was 14, and I always enjoy bringing a community together around a product. And I mean, we got a lot of energy from the chess community as well. Really from day one, when we announced Chessable, there was thousands of people who thought this was a good idea that had to be realized. And they've been fantastic with words of encouragement, support, advice, ideas on how to improve the product. And I believe they've been listened to over these years, and Chessable is exactly what that initial community wanted. And it's part of our product process to actually keep listening to them going forward into the next years. Chessable is definitely a product that was built by players for players. I think we have stuck to that vision, and it continues to be exactly the same. What has changed is we now have a lot more great people in chess helping us realize this. You know, when I started, it was John and I, there was two of us, and then at some point we had 3 or 4 people. We had a small community around it. But now there is really an incredible amount of people that I never imagined all pulling in the same direction. So the future is bright. It really excites me what we can achieve together, and I just look forward to it. It's been absolutely incredible to see the reception by some of the top grandmasters in the world, like Grandmaster Anish Giri and Erwin Olami. And this sort of validation across the spectrum of players is fantastic, and it's really what keeps the entire team going. So, fabulous. Hi, my name is David Sinemaza Kramali. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Chessable and the Chief Operating Officer of the Play Magnus Group.
Welcome everyone to the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour and the Charity Cup. And we have reached the grand finale of the event. Just 2 players are left standing. We have Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, who faces Jan-Krzysztof Duda. And that is quite a tough battle for him. Of course, Jan-Krzysztof Duda won the World Cup last summer. And along the way, he actually defeated Magnus Carlsen. So this is not going to be an easy one for the world champion, but let's see. Remember, this is a very special event, the Charity Cup, where the Play Magnus Group have partnered with UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund. And, well, we're encouraging everyone to donate. The players have been encouraged to donate. And so far, a grand total of, let me see, $101,000, over $101,000 has been raised for UNICEF, helping children in Ukraine. It's a very worthwhile cause. And if you feel like you can spare a little spare cash, then do click on the links and support UNICEF. That would be fantastic. Also, during the event, there is 40% off on membership of Chess24. And indeed, a cut of that will be going to UNICEF as well. 20% will be donated to UNICEF. So if you want to, it's a win-win situation, basically. Do consider that as well, using the code Charity Cup. Now, we're just about 5 minutes away from starting the game. There are going to be 2 sets. Basically, there's a first set today of 4 games, and then there'll be a second set tomorrow of 4 games. So this won't be decided today, but of course, whoever wins the first set is at a big advantage. So we're 5 minutes away from the first move. And let me introduce, of course, Peter Leko. How are you?
Yeah, hello, Danny. Hello, everyone. Well, super excited for this grand finale, as you mentioned. I'm expecting very, very big fight. There was a tweet by Duda saying like, what better thing can happen to you than getting a chance to practice for 2 days with the world champion Magnus Carlsen and even play for a big paycheck. Quite an interesting tweet there. Yeah, I think that especially also yesterday in the interview there was a question like how Jan-Krzysztof is planning to prepare and in which form he feels himself for the candidates. Well, I mean, what better preparation than playing 2 days 4-game matches versus Magnus?
Yeah, definitely. So you think it's wide open? Who's the favorite here?
Well, so far, actually, I think that whoever was the high-rated player won their matches. And that's what you also mentioned in the quarterfinals, that, okay, the favorites are the favorites. Definitely, I guess that if Magnus plays any match, then he's clearly the favorite. But I mean, as you mentioned, Duda has beaten him in the World Cup last year. It was a match scenario. Of course, 2 games matches are something much more of a lottery. It's a little bit a different format. And Magnus is so experienced with this 4 games matches, again getting the white color. However, just to highlight that actually tomorrow it will be reversed. So tomorrow Duda will get the white pieces in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, in the quarterfinals, I was absolutely clear on my favorites, I have to say, and they all powered through. The semi-final, I was certainly hedging, but yeah, the favorites won through again. Here, I've got to go for Magnus. I just can't see any other winner. Do you know what? Before the World Championship match, of course, again, Magnus was the favorite, but I was kind of inventing reasons why Nepo could win the World Championship. And, you know, he's maybe less consistent than Magnus, but he has these brilliant patches, plays brilliant games, capable of absolute genius at times. And, you know, in that way, you know, I was sort of making a case for the challenger. But in my heart of hearts, I knew that Magnus was going to do it. And so I've just got to put my money where my mouth is. And I'm going to say Magnus is going to crash through here. That's just my feeling. He's on such fantastic form, it seems to me. You know, I thought the way that he dispatched Ding yesterday was brilliant, because in the critical moments, that's where Magnus pulls through. And we saw that yesterday against Ding.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay, Magnus has so many strengths. First of all, he's controlling the clock very well. He has a very, very wide range of opening repertoire. I mean, when thinks about Magnus, you don't have this feeling like, yeah, Magnus is so unbelievably strong in the openings, but this is completely wrong, because he is just so much aware of every single opening, and basically it makes his opponent impossible to target Magnus. Yeah, you just don't know which first move it's gonna be. You don't know which opening he will play with the black pieces against e4, d4, c4. I mean, everywhere Magnus is capable of playing every single opening, and I think that these kind of things are much, much more important in a match format, yeah, because in a tournament, okay, everyone only plays 1 game with Magnus, and then you have the other players, but here you have to fight your way through over Magnus, and you can simply not for a single game guess what it's going to be. I think that's the toughest part.
Yeah, and you mentioned the clock. I think that is going to be a decisive factor in this match, because we know that Jan-Krzysztof, well, he goes down to the wire, and that's what makes watching him so entertaining, because we know that, you know, he strives so hard to find the best move always, and is prepared to invest so much time. And here, of course, they play on an increment. They have 15 minutes plus 10 seconds each time they make a move. So it gives Jan-Krzysztof even more reason to try to make always the best move, because he knows he has always a bit of time at the end. But we know that Magnus in such situations is deadly. and he preys on his opponent's lack of time and just senses the moment when to just increase the pressure. And we saw that brilliantly against Ding yesterday, where in a position that was actually very, very unclear, this queen and knight position, Magnus was very open about it afterwards. He sensed that this was the moment where he should really, really push it. And, well, if you look at the bare moves, you kind of think, wow, White really risked a lot there. But as we saw it, Ding was so short of time, and eventually he was just pushed over the edge and made a blunder, and that was that. But I think that's where Duda is going to come unstuck, actually, in those critical moments. But let's see. I could be completely wrong. I really hope that this is going to be a very even match. I want to see two well-matched opponents, and Duda has caused trouble for Carlsen before, so let's see. Now, we should be kicking off. It's 1 minute past the hour, and normally they start quite punctually. Apparently, Carlsen is a bit late. Well, start his clock. Start his clock, Jan-Krzysztof. Don't just sit there, punch his clock and just stare him out.
Yeah, but how to do that? Yeah, because only once White plays the first move and Black answers, only then the clocks are really starting. So yeah, I guess it's a little bit of a waiting game. But there is also one other aspect, that Jan-Krzysztof yesterday revealed, that probably people who have been closely following his games could understand, that he's hiding his main preparation for the candidates and he's experimenting. Well, this is now a very big question, because if he keeps on experimenting against Magnus, that will definitely not have a good end. But maybe it's the right time. It's the big final. Maybe it's the right time to come back to the main repertoires, and okay, no matter what, because after all, there are two arguments, that you are hiding. At the same time, if you are playing, you are practicing them. You are kind of asking Magnus, please show me some idea. And maybe Magnus will reveal some idea what the opponents of Jan-Krzysztof for the candidates are preparing. Then at least you already know it in advance. So this is always a very, very mixed sword, if you just want to hide everything, or you are very well open.
Well, let's see. Is there any kind of penalty for arriving late to these games? Frankly, I think a fulsome apology should be made by Magnus at the very least.
Yeah, we can see that. Magnus arrived. I think that everybody takes it a little bit lighter in online format. After all, okay, it's the final, but the match has not started yet. Now we have kicked. And we're gonna see the Catalan. Okay. So Magnus actually sticks to something that he prepared for the World Championship match. It was clearly kind of a weapon that he was playing it before. He even played it in his youth, but like a main repertoire, he really prepared it for the World Championship match. And we are seeing some very odd line with d takes c4 and c5, and then with knight e5. This is exactly the line that, when I learned the Catalan from the White side, it was like 2007. Against the c5 line, this was exactly the move order that I was also playing with: knight e5, knight ac, knight takes c4, and simply playing for compensation.
Yeah, very old theory. Takes me back as well. So yes, White has this fantastic bishop on g2, striking across the board, and the knight looming over the ramparts into Black's position, and it's always the clash between the bishop on g2 and the bishop on d7, which makes this opening interesting for White, because if that bishop can successfully emerge to challenge the bishop on g2, then normally Black is okay, but it takes some arranging to do that. In the meantime, you can see the pawn on d4. Well, what we would like to do in this position is cheat. We would very much like to pick up that pawn on d4 and just push it back one square. And that would solve all Black's problems at a stroke. But with the pawn on d4, it means that bishop on g2, it's just in a fantastic position. So let me see. It's been a long time since I looked at this. Remind me what the move is for white.
Well, I actually think that rook c8 is quite a rare move, because the main move, I believe, was something like
no?
bishop c5.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Bishop c5. I mean, we should also mention that this is some kind of a reversed Grunfeld. Yeah, I mean, also in the Grunfeld defense, many times people sacrifice this pawn for nice compensation. Yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, white's g2 bishop is the real asset of the position. The knight e5, knight c4 putting pressure, and the move rook c8 is clearly trying to reinforce the c6 square. Yeah, black is controlling the c6 square. Now Magnus went for queen b3, knight takes e5, takes bishop d6. Exactly, this is some kind of a very, very old theory.
I seem to remember there's a really old game between Garry Kasparov playing against one of the not Deep Blue in 97, but maybe in 96. It might have followed this exactly. I can't remember, but it's very, very similar, where white took the bishop on d7 and then took on b7. But yeah, I don't know if it was the exact position, but basically Garry ended up winning a beautiful game by playing on the light squares in a really classic style.
Yeah, I also have the feeling that something like this I recall. I mean, I can't recall that game, but that somehow white was collecting on d7, was collecting on b7, and was claiming that, okay, unless black immediately move pair move solves all his problems, white will be very nicely better in the long terms. However, knowing that Duda has blitzed things out, I'm assuming that he has very carefully checked this line with the supercomputer, yeah. And maybe actually, because the position has a very, very forcing character, there might be a chance that he understood that he can neutralize the pressure. Yeah, that will be very interesting to see. But apart of knight d7, there is also the move bishop f, but Magnus, yeah, takes and goes rook d1. First targets the pawn on d4. The pawn on b7 is not really running away, and he's also trying to provoke some weakness. Yeah, if black protects the pawn with e6, e5, that weakens all the more the light squares.
Yeah, do you know what? I have this recollection that this is roughly how this game went against Deep Blue, and it went e5, and instead of taking on b7, actually Garry, after e5, it went, Garry just played bishop g5, and these of course were still the early days, comparatively early days of computing, and Deep Blue basically kept the extra pawn, but allowed this exchange, and then Garry just dominated on the light squares. This, yeah, exactly like this. It was something really similar to this. Here we go. Kasparov, where our producer Tad is telling us Kasparov Deep Blue 96. There was no rook c8, but bishop c5 instead, and then white went queen takes b7. Okay, it was slightly different, but this is the kind of position that they arrived at, and white dominated on the light squares.
Yeah, so actually, those were the good old golden days. Yeah, when fighting against computers, if you could get a position like this, first of all, you knew that you can't lose with white. Yeah, you're gonna get a super grip on the light squares, and then okay, we are playing for only 2 results, and that's exactly the scenario we need against computers.
Yeah, Garry, in those days, Garry had a lot of fun in that game. Total dominance on the light squares, as our producer Tad is saying. Yeah, it was fun. So anyway, rook d1. But still, I mean, if I were Magnus, I think I would feel pretty comfortable with this start, because that bishop on g2 is just a monster. But as you say, no doubt Jan-Krzysztof has analyzed this in great depth, and perhaps there's some way for black to neutralize the initiative. But well, we're about to find out.
Well, I'm already a bit skeptical, because I mean, if you really play this opening and you are very well prepared, then you just want to show it. Yeah, you keep on blitzing. You keep on putting the pressure on the opponent, and you want to psychologically destroy him. Yeah, destroy the hope of getting an advantage, and also to signal for the rest of the match that, you know, I'm extremely ready for every scenario. But now that after the most simple knight takes d7, queen d7, rook d1, Jan-Krzysztof has slowed down. I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical about how deeply he has analyzed this.
Well, okay, let's just go through some nuts and bolts of this. Of course, black wants the castle, but if black castles, then, I mean, apart from taking on b7, simply rook takes d4 is a very simple move, and those are two beautiful bishops in the position, and we can stop right there and just say, well, white is better. White has a very, very comfortable advantage.
Exactly.
So if black isn't castling, so how does black deal with the threat to the d pawn? So there are basically, I can see two ways to do this. You can either play e5, or you can move the bishop somewhere. So the bishop could move to c5. But then again, b7 is en prise. There's also maybe the idea to play e3 as well. I'm less keen on that somehow. Or we could go back to
I think then we should also mention one very important element, that what is the difference between rook d1 and then taking on b7. For example, if white hurries immediately to take on b7, then after takes, there could be the very annoying rook c2 move for black, yeah? Yep. Attacking the e2 pawn, attacking the b2 pawn, and disrupting white's construction. But while the rook is already on d1, then let's just say black plays e5. Of course, we have discussed that bishop g5 is very interesting, but let's just show the difference that after takes rook c2, I mean, white is much more ready for everything. He can also move the king to f1, protecting the e2 pawn. He might be able to play rook d2 if he pleases. In any case, or even if he goes bishop a6 and prepares bishop d3, then whenever black pushes e4, the pawn on d4 is hanging. So a very, very beneficial including of rook d1 move.
Yeah, somehow I feel that after e5, white can push for even more instead of going for the endgame. I think after e5, I still like bishop g5 actually.
Yeah, well, finally, Jan-Krzysztof goes for bishop e5. I mean, yes, on one hand, you don't want to push e6, e5 because you don't want to compromise the light squares. So black keeps this pawn structure intact. But I mean, just some endgame scenario. I mean, why isn't white just very comfortably better there? Is I think a big question. Okay, let's take a look. So after queen b7,
right,
takes. Where does black rook go? That's the first question.
I mean, I like your idea of rook c2 and bishop a6, just to put the bishop back on d3. It's very solid.
Yeah, especially now with bishop e5, yeah. Bishop a6 is wonderful. So I think that rook c2 is even not the best square. Probably black should maybe just play rook b8 or rook c7 with the idea that you want to kick the bishop and then maybe king e7, bring the other rook to c8, maybe somewhere to play a timely d4, d3, and trade the b2 pawn for the d pawn. But by that, doing so, trading the dark square bishops, getting rid of white's advantage of the pair of bishops.
This doesn't feel so bad for black.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like white has sort of cashed in too early.
Yeah, but I mean, after bishop e5, I don't think that you have a real chance, because positionally bishop e5 is a very healthy move. Yeah, I did not weaken anything.
Okay, let's see. Okay, well, what if I play in a very crude way? What if I just play e3? Let's try this.
Okay, if you play e3, I feel like, okay, I will be very happy. Okay, I just castle.
Okay, so are you just going to recapture, are you? If I take bishop d4.
I'm just gonna recapture him.
Yeah, that's actually rather annoying. Let's just show that, because it's very difficult for white to make anything of this.
Yes. And all of a sudden, black gets activity.
Yeah. Not so great. Okay, let's go back again. Okay, well, so now we're beginning to understand the dilemma.
Yeah, not so simple. I mean, there are some options like trying to stop black from castling, yeah, like going queen b4 or queen a3, but it feels a bit artificial. I don't feel that it should be so good. It's an alternative, but maybe, I mean, definitely Magnus is thinking like how to get the most of his out of this position, but maybe actually just objectively. There is also another question, that what happens if we just take with the bishop on b7? Sorry, no, because rook b8, bishop c6, the bishop protects the rook. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, queen b7 on the board. You can't play better than the best move. Queen b7. I'm expecting the trade. Yeah, takes, and then the big question: rook c7 or rook b8?
I think rook b8 I like, because targeting b2.
Yeah, but also rook c7. Yeah, rook c7 played. I mean, rook c7 with the same idea, like moving the king and then bringing rook to b8. Probably it's very, very similar.
It's the commentator's curse. I should have just kept my mouth shut.
Well, there is also one small little difference, that if now after rook c7 white plays bishop a6, maybe black goes knight d5, tries to activate this knight because it will come to b4, hit the bishop, and whenever white goes f4, then black bishop can fall back to f6 and protects the d4 pawn. I mean, yeah, now it's a big choice for white, because if you keep the bishop on the diagonal, yeah, and Magnus keeps it on the diagonal, it hinders any kind of knight d5s. Even that is not such a very, very clear, but of course now black will not play knight d5. I mean, it makes no sense to play knight d5. The move, yeah, now we are faced with this eternal question, yeah, that for endgame purposes, of course, it would be desirable for black to play the move king e7 to stay active, but then it might run into b3, bishop a3 check. Yeah, that's kind of a nasty threat. And especially also bishop f3 stop d3.
That's an annoying move, b3.
Yeah, after king e7, and okay, castle is definitely not a move you want to make at this moment. It just feels like the king will be too far away. Black will have some back rank issues. There is even a question, I don't know, I'm not such a big fan, but even a move like bishop f4 comes to mind. Takes, isolating this d4 pawn. After rook d8, white would play rook d2, and then combining ideas like going rook a d1, targeting the pawn, and if black has to stay passive, then some b4, b5, bishop c6 ideas are also hanging in the air.
Yeah, but hold on. I think after the exchange, I think black should surely take the chance to play rook c2 as quickly as possible.
But for example, rook c2, even I can just take, and after rook b2 go rook a4.
I understand, but maybe in major piece endgames, at least black has decent drawing chances. If we simply play knight d5.
Maybe, but I mean, in any case, yeah, we see that how unpleasant it is to be black here, yeah, because yeah, finally of course black goes for king e7. I mean, you have to. Beast is annoying, but still, I think it's less of a problem than after castles what black would face. And the clock situation more or less even. I mean, okay, half a minute advantage for Duda. It basically means nothing in this endgame. And I have to mention one thing, yeah, that this younger generation, because they are jumping from one opening to another, yeah, they don't have this very, very seriously worked out stable repertoire, yeah, like our generation used to have. And it comes with a compromise. I'm not sure that how big expert Jan-Krzysztof is in this d takes e4 c5 line, And maybe simply after this knight e5, knight a3 old main line, he was just not aware of all the details. Yeah, because definitely he did not voluntarily end up in this position.
Okay, so what after white plays b3, I'm just trying to work out what black's move should be. I mean, he could just switch the rook over, and if there's a check, then I guess the king just nudges back to e8.
Like this, yeah.
Yeah, but it feels like, you know, if white just plays rook c1, then white is kind of stabilizing.
Yeah, white is certainly stable, but okay, yeah, it's the big question. Yeah, how much? Yeah, rook d8 is played, so bishop a3. He wants to go bishop d6. That's his idea. Yeah, bishop a3 check. He wants to have the move bishop d6 ready. Yeah, now Magnus goes bishop d2. Yeah, this is what I very much like. Yeah, it shows how flexible white's position is. With b3, you were hinting at bishop a3 check. Aha, so okay, black was reacting against bishop a3 now. Bishop comes to d2, targeting black with bishop a5, getting ready for rook ac1. It's a lovely position.
Yeah, bishop a5 is mildly annoying, because actually I wanted to play, for black, I want to play knight d5 here. But I think bishop a5, to come to c3, obviously, but bishop a5 is annoying because now the knight is forced back. And obviously, you know, white gains time in that respect. So yeah, knight d5 doesn't solve the problems. That's yeah, and the knight looks very poor. So yeah, bishop d2 is clever.
Yeah, very clever. And okay, white has a very easy next move, rook ac1, a very, very natural one. Of course, yeah, as you said, if black could jump with his knight to c3, everything would be fantastic. I mean, then basically white would be the one who should look for safety. But I mean, this knight is never going to reach this c3 square, because if the rook has to move from d8, then already knight d5 can always be met by bishop takes d5, e takes d5, destroying the pawn structure. And then there are some other issues for black.
Not an easy position for black at all. I think Magnus will be absolutely delighted with what's appeared so far. Oh, he's played knight d5.
He played,
what's his idea?
Well, I mean, maybe just bishop a5, knight b6, and okay, it's not pretty, but what to do? Maybe the knight on b6 is anyway better than on f6, because first of all, black was able to keep his rook on c7 and on d8. Besides, black might have some possibility of expanding on the king side. Of course, probably whenever black goes f5, g5, white might be ready to meet it with some h3, g4, and not allow black to go g5, g4, because that would already be in black's favor to fix white's structure, and then also h5, h4 could follow. So it's kind of a typical way of, you know, trying to stop your opponent's counterplay with a timely blockade.
I'm looking at the battle for the c file, because, you know, white wants to play rook c1, but that'll be met by black playing rook c8. And that's okay. And then white could trade, but white, I'm not sure really white benefits that much from doing this.
Yeah, there is also now a chance for white to eventually regroup the bishop to d3. That could be also very nice, because then it hinders any kind of rook c2. But do I step into d3? Maybe I'm stepping now into d3. Magnus goes bishop b4 check first. Yeah, clever, because now black doesn't have the move bishop d6 because of rook takes d4. Let's just show this, that this is a difference, because now white's rook protects the bishop. But I was not 100% sure what is the very, very big benefit. For example, if black plays king e8, we play rook ac1, I'm guessing. But then your idea of taking, going knight d5 still can be met by bishop a5. Okay, let's just show this, because takes, knight d5 would make a lot of sense, but then white is in time to hit the rook, and again, black has problems.
Yeah, rook c8.
Yeah, for example, rook d7, rook c8 check, king e7, and now also things changed that finally if black knight lands on c3, but white has already activated the rook and the rook is not logged down in the first rank from white side, then already this knight on c3 might be just simply be ignored, and also black's rook might get trapped with bishop c6, so it's not easy to move like this.
Okay.
But yeah, rook a1 will be met by rook dc8 for sure. Yeah, not giving up the file.
Well, then Magnus could exchange and no, I was going to say exchange and play bishop e4, which would provoke f5, bishop d3, but then the knight does come to d5.
Exactly.
And that's actually a bit annoying. So
yeah, rook d3. Wow, I mean, definitely a move which was not on our radar at all. Not at all.
No.
So Magnus actually tries to say, like, I want to ignore the c file, I want to go rook a d1, and I want to get this e3 in, trying to use the pin, but little bit it feels artificial. I have to say that it feels a bit artificial.
Very interesting. I mean, just for the moment, maybe black's pieces just aren't so well coordinated. So perhaps, you know, Magnus has that in mind. You know, this knight can't come to d5 because of bishop a5. And the rooks, yeah, they're a little bit split. So yes, rook a1 and e3. I mean, that's a very dynamic idea, actually. Really interesting.
It's very dynamic, changing the character of the position. Well, time-wise, yeah, Duda is up on the clock. Actually, this is the only benefit of this this position and the whole operation what Duda has done, that he was controlling the clock. Yeah, he was always controlling, never falling behind. But still, I mean, this rook d3, I don't know. So let's try to make the most natural move, rook dc8. I guess you play rook d1.
Yeah. And should we go in?
And then the idea is to go e3 next, yeah, just to break.
Okay, so let's test it. So what happens on rook c2?
No, I actually wanted to test that what happens after move like knight d5 now. Because I kind of provoke you to take. Okay, you spoiled, but I have now this wonderful rooks, yeah, and then I might trade one rook with rook c1 or enter with rook c2. I might be able to. Okay, e3 is very nasty.
Yeah, with the king on e8.
Yeah.
You see, black should have castled. The king should have been on g8.
Yeah, if black would be not castled, I think black's counterplay would be probably enough. But yeah, this e3 is a problem. You just win a pawn.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is something to watch out for with black.
But can we just look at that again? So let's just have a look at this, and then here, and then rook c2.
And just enter, yeah. Okay, course, he entered immediately.
Knight d5 could still come, actually.
Yeah, okay, maybe white plays a4.
And now can we try knight d5?
Yeah, I still want to, now that we discovered this idea, I want to use
it. Still good, still very good.
Yes. Probably.
Yeah, it looks nice. Okay, forget knight d5.
Yeah, but this is of course very, very important motive for white, that white has this e3. But rook c2 played by Duda. I mean, he opts for rook c2 immediately. It might lead to more or less same positions. He just wants to make sure that white can't be able to move his rook at the moment, and maybe he says that, you know what, I want to see you play a4 because now I can jump with knight d5 with the rook on d8. It's a different story. I mean, now white is unable to take on d5 because then rook d5, of course, is fantastic for black. And now already bishop a5 does nothing because it's not hitting both rooks. Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah, not so. I mean, in a classical game, I think that white would be kind of very happy with all these endgames. But in a rapid play, I don't know how easy it is to be so precise. Rook d2 played, rook dc8. follows. Rook d1, of course.
Magnus still controlling the situation. I mean, the moment passed very quickly, but of course, Black did have the option to play the pawn to d3. I mean, I don't think it's not very good, but we should just have a very quick look at it. Yeah.
I guess you just ignore everything. Go
I think so, yeah. And White is very comfortable. Anyway, f5 played by Duda.
Yeah.
Which does prevent bishop e4.
Yes, exactly. I mean, okay, not easy. Yeah, Magnus going king g2. I mean, it already also shows that he doesn't really have a clear plan. He just wants to make sure that he makes reasonable useful moves. Yeah, in any case, king is better on g2 than on g1. Yeah, and this is also the typical sign of class. Yeah, that you don't want, you understand that there is nothing concrete in the position. It's also a rapid game with less than 5 minutes on the clock. If you see a tiny little move which improves the position and gives a little bit more harmony to your position, then just do it. I mean, instead of calculating variations, there is nothing to calculate at the moment. And with king g2, you also pass the move to Black. Also, it's not obvious what Black should do. Yeah, Black plays bishop f6.
I remember when I was a kid playing through a stack of games by Anatoly Karpov. And in so many games, I saw that Karpov was just playing g6, king g7. And for me, this was kind of a revelation where it seemed like, hang on, what is he doing? And for me, it was really striking that this is just simple little steps to improve the position of the king, maybe in an end game, maybe kind of a middle game transition to an end game. And for me, it was absolutely striking. This was maybe my main takeaway from playing through Karpov's games when I was very, very young.
Yeah, and often it looked like, you don't really understand what is the big difference, but g6, king g7 happens, and 3-4 moves later or 5 moves later, you suddenly see, wow, now everything works in Black's favor thanks to those little moves. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, g4. Well, G4. That's very interesting because that, of course, hinders Black, prevents Black from playing e5. But interestingly, and is a kind of positional threat to exchange pawns. But if g6, actually, suddenly, out of the blue, White's bishops are hassling Black's king. So it's possible to exchange, check on h5, and push the king to the d file. And, well, maybe it's not possible to exploit this straight away, but...
Yeah, because luckily for Black, Black has knight d5 coming.
Yeah, knight d5 comes, but it was close. That's the kind of thing that can easily happen.
Yeah. I mean, g4 is very nice, but basically White has to make sure, because I was also about to suggest the move g4, and then I said, but hang on, wait a second, this bishop on f3 now has to stay here, because just like we discussed here before, that takes check, king d7, suddenly knight d5, and then knight f4 check. Yeah, one should not forget about the f4 square, which got weakened. But Duda goes f takes g4, probably with the intention of going knight d5 immediately. Yeah, knight d5 will follow now. Yeah. Okay. Using the momentum, very concrete chess, very dynamic. This is also typical Jan-Krzysztof, grabbing the moment, changing the character, activating that knight. Bishop d6 played.
All the time, I just have this funny feeling there's going to be an exchange sacrifice on d4. I keep looking at it every move. But we're not there yet.
Yeah, king f7. I mean, there was a temptation to go king d7, but it just felt very, very shaky with this.
Yeah, then the exchange sacrifice starts to, in some positions, look more plausible.
Exactly. Yeah, bishop f3. Okay, now something like rook takes d2, rook d2, knight c3 looks very natural. finally landing that knight on c3.
Yeah, very dynamically played by Duda, actually.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way how you can play this type of positions. Yeah, and he very well sensed that what to move, when to move. Nice play. Bishop f3, g6, just a g6 move. Okay.
It's a little surprising, I have to say.
Yeah, but maybe it's a sign of confidence. Yeah. It stopped basically also some bishop e4 with double attack, eventual double attack.
Sure.
Of course, it did not really matter at this moment, but still prophylactic.
I've just mentioned Karpov and g6 and king g7. It's a slightly different situation, but b4 from Carlsen. Wow. I guess, yeah, he wants to bishop c5. Yes. That's a nice anchor for the bishop, that pawn on b4. That's a beautiful anchor.
Yeah,
clock times very even at the moment, 3.5 minutes each. Wow. We're going down to the wire. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. Now things are heating up. I mean, it's such a dynamically more or less balanced position that can very easily turn out to be absolutely fine for black, or white might get a clear advantage. It's not those positions that you can just automatically play and you know that nothing will happen. There is really a lot at stake here. b4. Now, how do you? I mean, somehow intuitively, I don't feel like I want to allow bishop c5. Yeah, and rook c4. Now, bishop c5 can be met by e5. Let's just show this, that then black is able to break white's construction. Also, the pawn on b4 is hanging, by the way, but a5 is such a nice move that that you just want to liquidate everything. Okay, well, rook c4, nice.
Yeah, I mean, white does have the possibility after that bishop c5 to liquidate everything and into a rook and pawn endgame. So, I mean, it still always feels to me that Magnus basically has the draw if he wants it. You know, there are going to be ways for white to liquidate here. You know, Duda is definitely on the wrong end of a draw here.
Yes, that's for sure. I mean, okay, if someone, then certainly only white can fight for advantage. Now, the big question also appears that something like, for example, trade on d2, I mean, rook d2, bishop e7, it's kind of tempting to try to get rid of this powerful bishop and stopping any kind of bishop c5 ideas, but also you release the tension by taking on d2, easing also white's play.
But okay, how do you evaluate the rook and pawn endgame after, if I take on d5, take on e7, and then play, I don't know, rook d3 maybe?
Well, I mean, intuitively, I felt like it should be fine for black, but who knows? Maybe this rook h3 creating another weakness on g6 might be very important.
Yeah, maybe, h4 and move the king up or something.
Yeah. Well, not easy. And now we see Duda is now spending already almost 2 minutes for the last 1.5 moves. Yeah, because rook c4 and for his next move, and he's down to 1 minute 20 seconds.
Yeah, because basically he has to choose which slightly worse endgame does he head for. You know, that's an unpleasant kind of decision to make. Hobson's choice, as we say.
Yeah, very, very unpleasant, because if you suddenly end up choosing wrongly, then you might pay a big price.
And now he's under a minute. Of course, he's used to this, but it still makes life difficult.
Yeah, okay, he's the good situation for him is that if he finds the right choice, then he will be able to play the next couple of moves quickly and get a clear-cut position. But if he misses the momentum, then it will backfire heavily. Down to 35 seconds.
Very tense situation. How's he looking? I need to check in on the video and see what he's looking like.
Yeah, and goes knight b6. Wow, I mean, I feel like this is some kind of a panic move. I mean, this was certainly not his first and not his second candidate. I think he looked at all kinds of possibilities. Finally, this is also typical, yeah, that he simply felt like he doesn't like any of it and then makes a move which he might have not calculated at all. It happened to me many times. Just out of panic, you have only 20 seconds, you have to make a move, because it certainly wasn't a good one. Takes, rook c3. Now white has this lovely rook d3 move. Actually very tempting, super tempting rook d3.
As you like to say, Peter, cemento.
Exactly. I mean,
I'm using your vocabulary.
Yeah, with rook d3. I mean, okay, that's all what I need. Yeah, on the board. I mean,
it's a nice move to make.
It's definitely very nice. And very unpleasant for black, because rook d3, d3 is a terrible exchange. Then this pawn on d3 is so wonderful, dominating. Yeah, he has to go e5 because he has to try to threaten with bishop e7, targeting and challenging the bishop on c5. He has to do this. Only justification. And now Magnus has a couple of interesting choices. I don't know which one he will choose.
Well, I was just thinking just bishop e4 if possible.
Exactly, but bishop e4, bishop e7. And then my question is, do you take on cc and then move the bishop back to ec and then rely on the light square bishop controlling the c pawn? But black gets counterplay.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one. Yeah, the knight has potential to hop, but
yes. I mean, of course, we should show that the problem is black can't jump to c4 yet because of bishop d5, but something
king
like
e6.
king, and then knight c4 and threatening some counterplay. It's not what white wants.
No.
Yeah, e5. Okay, super important move. Also, black does not only have bishop e7 as an idea, but also move like king e6. Bishop e4 on the board. Bishop e7 on the board as well.
Here we go. Big moment. And again, we should mention that at any moment, of course, white can just simplify to a draw. Just by exchanging bishop for knight, but I think Magnus is going to be looking for more than that.
Yeah, definitely. But there is also some kind of a pressure on him because, I mean, he's unable to keep everything what he wants, and he will have to settle for something. And we also see, with this 10 seconds increment, there is a completely different dynamic. Duda was already down to 10 seconds, and now he has stabilized his position with powerful moves, and he's already having 36 seconds on his clock, and Magnus is catching up now with he's only slightly above 1 minute.
I just wonder, how is the pure opposite color bishop endgame, where if white can actually get the king into the middle, and you might be able to penetrate on the queen side. Is there a chance there to play for something?
But how, you want to take on b6 now?
Yeah, and just play this one.
And then king f3?
King f3, and then king e6.
Yeah, king e6.
But I wanted to try and wander the king over. So even taking on c3 and just playing.
Yeah, but no, I mean, this
think it's
should
too
be
slim?
draw, yeah. I mean, black's king will sit on d6, and also with bishop h4, he can always target f2 pawn as well.
Yeah, yes.
Bishop e7 on the board. Yeah, it's not an easy choice. And Duda is up on the clock. Bishop e7, king e7. 10 seconds advantage for Duda now. And his position has stabilized. Now the knight has the potential of jumping. Actually, I don't know what Magnus is doing. I mean, he's suddenly risking. 15 seconds on the clock. I mean, of course, he just had no heart taking on b6, but he might pay a big price.
Oh, and now he's absolutely down to the wire. Rook h3.
Wow, what is this? I just don't understand. I mean, even just takes knight c4, and okay, black is also coming with knight d6, targeting the queen side pawns as well.
The white's king is just miles away. I mean, looks like a panicky decision to me. I mean, really?
Yeah, but if you panic, why don't you take on b6? Yeah, it's unbelievable. This has the potential of a turnaround. I mean, I wanted to be white during the whole game, and now suddenly, if you ask me, I would probably pick black. I mean, the king is not really coming here anywhere because black can just put king on f6 and it stops any kind of king g5, king h6. We will never let this. Yeah, knight starts to jump, knight c4. a4, and look at this again. Magnus has kind of forced it. Look at the evaluation bar, but he was bishop c2, not bishop d5. Slightly surprising. Bishop c2, e4. Because yeah, intuitively just feels like, okay, black is coming now. He's coming with the king to f4, but then g5
and then
check.
g5 check. Yeah. So probably he has to push on the queen side. He played king f4.
Yeah, he wants to provoke this slight weakness with g5. Yeah, then king g4. If you play h6, then the h6 pawn will be closer to white's g4 king.
Still.
The big question is there some Zugzwang position here, or Zugzwang does not matter? That's a very big question. King g6, I'm loving this because black wants to go h5 check and then activate his king. Very well played.
And he's not worried about f3. h5 check, king back. Yeah, king f5. h4.
Yeah, and look at how Magnus is sitting there. Doesn't feel so confident anymore. I mean, the way he's sitting.
Yeah, and Duda suddenly feels. Yeah, you can just tell the body language. Duda knows he's back in.
Yeah, Duda leaned forward. Yeah, I mean, he feels that there is strength in his position. I mean, yeah, very, very tricky.
Very impressive the way he's fought. Let's see.
And king f6. Yeah, just sits. There is no reason to hurry. Actually, also the big question: white would love to advance his pawns on the queen side, but how do you do that? Yeah, if you push b5, it still doesn't move anywhere. Knight is controlling. If you push a5, the same, and you can never really support those pawns with the bishop because then black will have dc, knight f5 check. I mean, everything. Maybe white just have to sit here as well.
But I think he has to do. He's played b5. I think he has to do this because now he'll play a5, and after knight takes b5, just bishop e4, and I guess we're just liquidating to a draw then.
Yes, but okay, yes. So knight f5 check. King h2. King h2. Knight d6 back. Yeah, I mean, Duda's situation, I think, is just much easier now because, okay, he says, I got counterplay, but I know that I can't be better. I'm not playing for a win. And he puts the pressure on Magnus to decide what to do. And with little time on the clock, the most natural move, king g3, but it runs into repetition.
So Magnus just gaining a bit of time, getting 10 seconds each time he makes the move. So
yeah, but maybe actually I'm not sure if it's really about winning time or just willing to end the game, because I don't feel that he has any right to play for a win anymore.
I think Magnus, I mean, if we're about to see a draw, I think Magnus will be a bit disappointed actually and not squeezing more from the position.
What? King g2?
King G2.
Wow. So he's ready to give knight takes h4 because then king h3, king e5, a5, and so black should actually go back with the knight to d6. There is no time to, yeah, he opted for knight d6. Just very quickly to show that, yes, it's check, but white moves king h3, pawn on e4 is compromised, king e5, and then suddenly a5, and quick b6, a b6, a6 would have just won. So, okay, after knight d6, Magnus opted for ag, king g5, f3. So still tries to play for a win, but I'm not sure if this is objectively so good.
That's you can't fault his bravery. Extraordinary.
E3. Okay.
But Magnus could mess up if he's not careful.
Yeah, now it's bishop dc, knight b7. Both sides are looking, and black has very, very dangerous pass pawn. And he can also just sit with the knight on a5. How on earth could black be any worse here? Yeah, h4. King h3. There is also some temptation from black side to go knight c5 and d3.
I know, that's what I've just been looking at, and it's just doing my head in. Knight c5 is like a big destabilizing move.
Yeah, but here then bishop takes d3, knight d3, and then b6 is the trick. And
yeah,
a6.
Yeah.
But knight c5 on the board, so we might be actually in for this a5 d3, bishop takes d3. Okay, where is the mate? I haven't seen mate. So bishop d3, knight d3, b6. Knight f4 check, knight d5, knight c7 is in time to come back. Is in time to come back. So actually white, what is happening? Knight takes d3, b6, a6, knight f4 check, king h2, knight d5, a7, knight c7 wins. So Magnus actually needs to take back on b6. But isn't that just losing? A b6, yeah, f4 check. I mean, king f4, king h4. Is this a draw? I mean, because the knight will always have moves. So Magnus wants to sit with king f4, king f3. Yeah, it's probably draw. Whew. But this is some study like.
I mean, he's risking such a lot in doing this. This is extraordinary.
And then he has, yeah, this is his rescue, that he has two squares always attacking the pawn on e3, knight b7, king h3.
He got away with this one. Really.
Amazing, yeah. Yeah, because if, of course, black would have a bishop, it would be completely winning. But yeah, the knight is too far away. Yeah, knight d6, king h4.
Incredible.
I have never seen a position like this, but we somehow sense, yeah, that if Magnus tries to play for a win there, avoiding the repetition, only he's the one who is risking. King e4, king g4.
Unbelievable. I mean, the Magnus pushes so hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still a draw. Whoa.
Yeah, knight a5. Of course, black will be jumping with his knight up and down, but it doesn't really makes a difference. But I have to, I have to mention one thing, yeah, that when when things are escalating, yeah, and you have little time on the clock, and then things are not working out your way, it's so easy to collapse, yeah. And we always see this time and time again from these incredible players, that they somehow manage to discover all these ideas with few seconds on the clock. Quite stunning.
Couldn't agree more. They somehow know how to compromise at the last moment. And to keep things going.
Yeah, knight e6 check. Of course, it's little trolling, yeah, because actually the knight is on the same square now on c5 as if had arrived from b7, but it did a little circle, just showing some, that okay, as if the knight would be on a different square now. And white just sits on king f3, king f4, two squares. That's why there is no Zugzwang, no matter how much the knight is jumping. And black's king is not able to move away from d4. Wow. What a draw finally. I mean, really incredible. It's something for the books. Yeah, this defensive setup is something for the books.
Yeah, you'll probably find that Magnus has had this like 3 times already in online chess. Yeah, really unusual, very unusual. So there we go. The game does end in a draw. Do you know what? I'm just looking at the time. I think the players have played almost 55 minutes in this game. That was basically the quickest hour I've ever experienced. the game just kind of flew by with some really critical moments. So a draw, as we can see in the first game, we've got in all likelihood, 3 more games today. So do stick around. I think we will start the next game in 15 minutes. So this is a slightly more leisurely day for us. So I think we will take a quick break. Just before we do, Peter, can we just go back and try to identify some critical moments? I mean, I think that position where the rook was on c3 and Magnus chose to exchange on e7, around about here, it felt as though Magnus might be getting somewhere. And there was that very interesting decision where he exchanged bishops, but he could have exchanged rooks and put the bishop back on e3. But it was a very risky moment.
Yeah, we discussed this, that after bishop e7, first of all, with little time on the clock, you definitely would love to have a very clear direction where you are going. But unfortunately for Magnus, this was not the case, because, okay, bishop b6, a b6 is just too drawish. It's hard to believe, and we have seen that Magnus was trying to win this game, willing to take even immense risk at the end. The other move, rook takes e3, d takes e3, removing the bishop back to e3, was kind of the most natural. I mean, I was expecting this. Then black, of course, cannot fall for this trick with knight c4, bishop d5, so would play the move king e6. And now the white king is a little bit far away. I mean, white, of course, has the chance to go back bishop c1, play e3, and try to bring the king, but it's just too slow. I mean, black will jump with knight c4, probably knight to d2 as well. For example, just to highlight this. And then white's king will never ever come closer. And by hitting the bishop on e4, again, white can still make a draw with bishop d2, but if not, you move the bishop, then black might come king d5, might push also e4, and who is playing for a win? King c4, knight b3 is coming. You can't risk this.
Yeah,
so not easy at all. But I mean, what Magnus has done, bishop e7, king e7, and rook h3, was I think both you and I saw like, wow, what is Magnus doing? But two moves later, then we saw the evaluation bar actually jumping in white's favor. I don't know which was the critical moment. Maybe this bishop c2. I think bishop c2 was the move that the evaluation bar did not like. Actually, the engine bar was saying that knight c4 was not precise, but knight c4 is such a natural move.
Maybe off a4, knight d6. I wonder if the bishop should go to d5.
Yeah, but I mean, of course, it's running into e4, king f6, king e5. I understand, and also this is coming. So you need again some incredible ideas here to understand why this is possible at all.
Yeah, strong nerves.
Yeah,
because absolutely not obvious. So, but I mean, really well played by Jan-Krzysztof Tudor, who found dynamic possibilities in the position to just keep enough there to make White's life very difficult, so that Magnus never quite got absolute control in the position. So we can see he is a class act. Peter, I think we should take a short break. We'll be back in maybe 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less than that. And hopefully everyone will join us for game 2. Remember, if you'd like to support this charity cup by donating to UNICEF to help children in Ukraine, then please do. And thank you to everyone that's donated so far. But we will be back for game 2 in a few minutes' time.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
So that I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Jan-Krzysztof, and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it because you were in Thailand during all the match and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the two kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
It's a big pleasure to welcome both of you, and I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind the scenes insights. See you then.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with AirThings.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Krzysztof Sielecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses.
This is John. John loves to study chess. This is David. David loves to study chess as well, but efficiently. John spends more time setting up the board and figuring out what's on the page of his book than he gets to study. David likes to take it easy and use his time wisely. his exercise for today. John should try the same.
Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game and get paired with players from around the world fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
I'm ahead of the game. Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker. But follow me. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy. Logically, I'm impossibly wanted. And they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
I kept Chessable a secret for 3 years at least, and I was using it for myself. And I, maybe never expected how big it would become.
I have always been into games, and I think games are fun ways to pass your time. Sometimes they can be educational as well, but I think chess is the perfect game that has it all. It's a game that not only entertains you, but also teaches you about life skills, from things like time management to the consequences of your moves or your actions. Once you make a move, you cannot take it back.
I really fell in love with the game. And of course, given my competitive nature, I wanted to get better at it. And I found it extremely difficult after watching countless videos and reading some books. You would put in all that effort, and then when you get to the board, it's like it all disappeared, it all vanished, and you performed at the exact same level you were before that. And I looked around for a solution that could perhaps use the latest technology, the latest learning science out there to help you learn chess, and there was nothing. So that's how the idea was born. I've been building things since I was 14, and I always enjoy bringing a community together around a product. And I mean, we got a lot of energy from the chess community as well. Really from day one, when we announced Chessable, there was thousands of people who thought this was a good idea that had to be realized. And they've been fantastic with words of encouragement, support, advice, ideas on how to improve the product. And I believe they've been listened to over these years, and Chessable is exactly what that initial community wanted. And it's part of our product process to actually keep listening to them going forward into the next years. Chessable is definitely a product that was built by players for players. I think we have stuck to that vision, and it continues to be.
Welcome back to game 2 of this first set in the final between Magnus Carlsen and Jan-Krzysztof Duda. We had a draw in game 1, a really tense fight, and I think that heralds a great contest ahead of us. And I think the players are just about ready for game 2. I can see Jan-Krzysztof waiting there, and Magnus has appeared as well. So, well, great struggle in game 1. I'm sure we're going to see it in game 2 as well. And we have liftoff. D4 on the board.
Yeah, D4 on the board. So basically, Duda is mirroring Magnus. D4, D5, C4. Which line will Magnus choose now? That's a very big question.
Super solid or something else?
Okay, C6, the Slav defense. I'm expecting knight f3, knight f6. Knight c3 move order. Okay. So yeah, Magnus goes knight f6. He doesn't want to give the chance for Duda to go for the Slav gambit with e6, e4. Yeah, and knight c3, knight f6, e3. Okay, so it's gonna be a clear Meran, I guess. Yeah, e6 on the board. Knight f3, knight b7, and then will we see queen c2? I'm actually expecting the move queen c2 here. It's the very, very solid line, and it was also the line that I used against Magnus. Yeah, queen c2 on the board in the Legends tournament. Queen c2,
what happened in that game, Peter?
Well, I was actually using some very nice preparation because I somehow sensed which line Magnus would actually go for. No, he goes now for b6. He avoids the mainstream theory, and then I played a very, very good game. I was already completely winning. Magnus was down to like 30 seconds. I still had some time, and I rushed one move, and Magnus punished me, and he escaped and made a draw. That was just really so unfortunate because it was like one more move from my side, one precise good move, and it's game over. It resigns on the spot. And it was not like one move. I mean, basically 3-4 natural moves, and one of the moves that I made also looked very natural. It was one of them. I have seen all the others. I thought like, okay, this is the cleanest, this is the most professional, and I fell into this incredible trap there, and then Magnus escaped. b6, bishop e2, bishop b7. Yeah, this is an old line. Magnus likes to play this like this with black. I mean, avoiding mainline theory, just relying on solid position, but it's also kind of a very, very nice situation scenario for Duda, because usually it's so difficult to get anything against Magnus, but here at least he knows that this is a playable position. The big question, however, how much does Duda know about this? Because he might have not expected b6.
Yeah, I mean, b6 is kind of very, very solid way to play, isn't it?
Yeah, white goes for e4. Yeah, there is some kind of a difference, because if white plays with b3 and then e4, then we kind of transpose to classical lines with what black is doing against the b3 system. But here, white tries to use the momentum. Yeah, he wants to open up, and he didn't waste the time for b3. This should actually make a big difference. I'm not an expert here, but it certainly feels like this extra tempo should mean something. And there was also another very interesting scenario that in 2019 in the Bundesliga I played against Duda, and I played the same Meran variation with Queen C2 against him as well. So I had Meran with Queen C2 from the white side against both Magnus and Duda. And now Duda is also playing. That game also ended in a draw. I mean, this Queen C2 is a very drawish line, and but of course, I mean, it's drawish if black knows. Yeah, it's always a test. And I also against Duda got some kind of an advantage. It's a very solid way to play with white.
So black is basically trying to break with c5 to unleash that bishop on b7. At the moment, the queen stands on e4, preventing that. So if I play the obvious move, knight f6, is that queen going to go all the way over to h4? Is this the idea?
I think so, yeah. Queen h4, because somehow this h7 pawn is the weakness for black. Yeah, that if black castles, then I guess white wants to go something like bishop d3, bishop g5, knight e5. Aha, we are getting the information from Tadeusz that Magnus played this already with black against Bu Zhangzi in 2017 World Cup. It was the one where Bu beat him in the first game, yeah, when Magnus refused the perpetual and then went on to lose with white. And he was in a must-win situation, and that's how he was trying to create winning chances from the black side, but I think he never got even any close. Bu is also such a super solid player from both with white and both with black. Very difficult to create winning chances. Knight f6 on the board, queen h4 as well, and c5.
There it goes.
Okay, but now the question is, can actually white sacrifice with d5, or it's premature?
Expect Magnus has this one in his preparation.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely. I mean, he has to, but yeah, otherwise, okay, another natural move would be rook d1, but somehow I feel like if white this line is such that if black gets a normal harmonious position, then actually black has the potential to be slightly better and start torturing the opponent. So it,
I was going to say, sorry to break in, when I compare this with, let's say, the French defense or the Caro-Kann, where a very similar pawn structure arises, I look at this and I think, wow, this is kind of a dream scenario for black, because that bishop is activated, you've got c5 in, and compared to those French positions, it feels like black has gained so much time.
Exactly. That's my very first intention is to go d5. I mean, that's the difference compared to all these e4 positions from the Caro-Kann or from the French. But yeah, Duda goes for rook d1. I mean, okay, now white is having a threat like d takes c5, clearly. Also keeping d4, d5 in the pocket. So queen c7 played. Okay. And another thing is somewhere maybe d takes c5, because bishop takes c5 is met by bishop f4. So some tempo play is possible as well.
But I mean, presumably black is just going to recapture with the pawn in that situation.
You just take back with the pawn, yeah? You think that? But hang on, then I just play b3.
You just want to play positionally.
Yeah, then castles and bishop b2, and I claim that, okay, at least you slightly compromise your pawn structure.
A little bit. I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it?
No, but I mean, okay, I'm hitting the knight on f6. And for example, if you would play a natural move like bishop e7, I could consider a move like queen g3, yeah? And then if I could force you to some endgame, then this is already something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's something. But a5 comes, a5, a4.
Yeah, should be fine. Yeah, should be enough. But I mean, even against a5, white has this typical plan: going knight e5, going f3, king f2, then knight can come back to d3, and this c5 pawn might be a weakness in long terms. No matter if you managed a4 and traded the a pawn.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah. I hear you.
But okay, so queen c7 on the board. Duda has to make up his mind. Yeah, d takes c5 is an option as well. d5 is maybe I'm only dreaming. Maybe I'm only dreaming that I want to make this work. So let's just very quickly take a look at takes, and then probably you just ignore and you castle, and then the pawn remains weak, and no initiative is really happening here. Yeah. Okay. So d5 is a stupid idea here. Bishop e3, but no. Bishop e3 is a move that not exactly everything that you have told that this will be a lovely Caro-Kann or French for black. I think it's coming now. White had to play some hard DC and get the tempest going. Bishop e3. I mean, for example, now just castle, and after d takes e5, now already you can take bishop c5. I mean, it's
very comfortable. Yeah.
Very, very.
But
no, this
of course, I mean, white doesn't need to actually exchange on c5 yet after castles.
Yeah, but running out of good moves, yeah, useful moves. I mean, any rook to d8 will be very, very beneficial for black, while I'm stuck here completely. No, I can't really explain this move bishop e3. I don't understand it at all. I mean, because with bishop e3, basically Jan-Krzysztof has given up on any kind of initiative. Yeah, he just wanted to, he made the move to, okay, let's play a normal game. But if you already want to play a normal game, then d takes c5 is so much more natural. Yeah, because if queen takes c5, bishop e3, what a big difference compared to the game. White comes with tempo, and bishop takes c5, bishop f4 comes again with a tempo. Black has to sidestep with queen to e7. Then already, okay, some idea, I don't know, but I mean, there are ideas for white in any case.
Yeah, 95 or something, yeah.
Yeah, but bishop e3, this is like an completely empty move. Maybe I'm also too harsh, maybe I'm too emotional, but I really feel like, okay, this has given up any hope of fighting for something. And Magnus taking his time. I mean, Magnus maybe senses the moment that, hang on, after bishop e3 is the time for, you know, already looking for something. Or will we just see, you know, a very professional game that black is castling, white will not find a better move than to take on c5. After bishop takes c5, something like bishop takes c5 and queen takes c5, queen d4, super professional, equalizing and guaranteeing a drawish position. I just don't see. I mean, usually I'm also getting nervous. Maybe it's also based on the fact that I played as a young kid, lot of games against Karpov, against Balayev, and all these Dreyev, all the players who were super big experts of this type of positions. And if something, you know, if they got a nice position, then they were able to start torturing me, and I have those memories. And I'm loving this type of positions with black. And we are getting the info from Tadeas that, yeah, black actually has the move long castle as well as an alternative. Yeah, this is the reason why Magnus is thinking, yeah, because it's a match situation. The first game was a draw. Now probably with just short castle he can have a very safe, easy draw. But after only making a draw with the white color, he might feel like there is a chance to mix things up, but he might go for it.
But I wonder whether he could refine this idea and play h6 first, just waiting. And if there's a big exchange in the middle, if white offers the exchange of queens, so bishop takes.
Yeah, h6 on the board. Wow.
So basically my idea was if white exchanges on c5, and then if white goes for this endgame you mentioned, then the king could actually be better placed in the middle on e7. So h6 is a kind of waiting move, but also you still have the potential to castle queenside, and then white's queen could be embarrassed because, of course, there's g5 is coming.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a theory. It's a theory.
Very well spotted and very well explained. Yeah, I immediately get the feeling that, yeah, you have studied Karpov's games very seriously. Yeah, it was typical Anatoly that he was doing all kind of these things. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So after h6, we are getting some message from Tadeusz that apparently, according to computers, b4 is here one of the main moves, and even after long castles, b4 was the main move. I don't feel like after the move bishop e3, I can't really imagine that it does not add up to me. That does not add up at all that Jan-Krzysztof after h6 would play the move b4 here.
Well, we need to look at it. I mean, that's a fascinating move. So after c takes b4, then white can play pawn to c5 and try to blow up the position while black's king is in the middle. Of course, that enables a check on b5 from the bishop as well. Maybe not immediately, maybe taking first, yeah. Really interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. But I mean, in a rapid game with so much at stake. Okay, however, yeah, h6 is a provoking move. Yeah, you feel like, yeah, of course, this is what Magnus has in mind, that if I trade everything on c5, he wants to have king on e7, and he definitely has a very comfortable position. I mean, we are not talking about black having advantage, no, not at all. But it's a psychological victory, yeah, if you get the same endgame with a king on e7. So there might be, especially such a creative player like Jan-Krzysztof Duda, he might be tempted, like, okay, you know what, you want to get the best of the best, then I will just challenge you with a stunning move. But no, he, of course, after bishop e3, it was very natural that dc5, bishop c5. I mean, it really feels like this is a match, and Duda wants to be solid. Bishop c5. Okay, now the move bishop f4, queen e7 with an extra h6 move feels like it should be absolutely fine for black.
And how about knight d4 to sort of fish around with knight b5?
Yeah, it's a move, but okay, for example, if we just play a move like a6.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, just stopping this knight b5, and okay,
Queen
question,
Queen g3.
Yeah, the big question: who benefits from the bishops staying alive? Yeah, okay, maybe I just take on g3.
Okay, looks about equal.
Yeah, knight d4 on the board. All right, so you have already spotted h6. You have spotted knight d4. What's next?
Well, I need to improve my strike rate. Frankly, at the end of yesterday, I was kind of feeling punch drunk. And if I'm feeling punch drunk in the calm of my office, then how do the players feel, and how do they manage to play so accurately, actually? I mean, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay, especially with very little time on the clock. Yeah, because we can always say, like, of course, you have time on the clock, you can figure things out. Yes, it's true. But with few seconds on the clock, and then all these crazy positions, and then not to lose the track, that's really incredible mastery. All right, so knight d4. Okay, I do feel like, I should play the move a6. Knight b5 is not such a big threat. I mean, but now also after, yeah, a6 is played, and look at this evolution bar going crazy after a6.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, wow. I mean, apparently there is something. I mean, knight takes e6, f6, bishop h5, but I don't see the danger yet. I mean, it's nothing is really threatening me there. Will Magnus regret his h6 move?
Our producer is pointing out the move bishop f4 for white here.
Yes, okay. I mean, that was the most natural move. I think we both had it, but I mean, queen e7, and what's next? That's the big question.
I don't know.
Maybe queen g, maybe, I don't know. It's
oh, knight b3.
Okay.
Yes, that's annoying.
Yeah. This is very effective. This is super effective. I mean, hitting the bishop, and if black loses the dark square bishop, then his position collapses.
But so he's played a3 instead, which is also could be an irritant, because the pawn will come to b4. Obviously, a5 will allow knight b5. So the pawn's going to come to b4, pushing the bishop back.
Yeah, on the other hand, okay, moving the bishop back to e7 might be anyway very sensible, because I can't castle due to this bishop takes h6 trick. Yeah, that was another reason why I did not really understand the move h6. I mean, it made a perfect sense. Yeah, you explained and it was very nice, but there was also some drawback. Yeah, exactly, that in some positions you might not be able to castle because of bishop h6 trick. And that's the reason why actually maybe Magnus will need to retreat his bishop to e7 in order to castle short.
Well, it seems sensible to preempt b4 anyway.
Yeah, but bishop e7, then again, this bishop f4 business might be very tricky.
Yeah, certainly h6 doesn't look quite as jolly as it did a couple of moves ago. Yeah, suddenly the position got sharper.
Yeah, very, very sharp, and it was all connected with this h6 move. I do feel like at this moment Magnus, after the move bishop e3, kind of relaxed. He understood that, okay, so my opponent wants to play very stably, very solidly. He doesn't really want anything from the game, and then he might have, we're thinking that, okay, yeah, castles, and it allows all these trades. I don't want to go along these ways. And then he played h6 with the intention, and Jan-Krzysztof suddenly switches to very aggressive approach. Yeah, takes knight d4, trying to get the momentum. And a6, a3. Okay, already we know that instead of a3, bishop f4 was quite a strong move according to computers. And if we already know that after the move queen e7, knight b3 is very, very strong, then we might be thinking about some other move. But which other move should have black made? I'm not sure at all. Because putting the queen, for example, back to c8 might run into simple queen g3 or bishop e5. I mean, both moves looking very, very powerful, hitting the weakness on g7 and on f6. So queen c8 a terrible move. So yeah, after bishop f4, I think it's very easy to miss queen e7, knight b3, because it just very typical computer idea. Yeah, that the computer has his focus everywhere, and we are kind of, okay, we are fighting for some things here. Magnus opted for rook d8 after a3, so b4, bishop e7. Puts now pressure on d4, so that whenever white goes bishop f4, he also has bishop d6 as an option. Also now e5 might be a move as well, because he already puts too much pressure on d4 knight.
Ooh. Well, once black breaks the structure in that way, then that starts to look really hairy.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, if you only do it if you are sure that it works. Yeah.
That's not why we play this pawn structure.
Definitely, yes.
Oh boy. But rook d8, tricky. Okay, so all right, let me make the move. I'll play b4. So what's...
Yes, bishop e7.
So just bishop e7. Okay, now.
Yeah, now after bishop e7, I will never ever play e5. Yeah, that was only against bishop f4. Maybe I have the move e5. It wasn't clear at all, but... Yeah, let me just show what I was saying. Yeah, because this is what I meant, that the only justification is that now after e5, I'm hitting the bishop, hitting the knight. And for example, after bishop g3, which with rook on a8 would work perfectly, now is the d4 knight is loose. Yeah, so black has all kinds of g5s, and I might be winning a piece. But
I was just looking at in that position that just after with the bishop on g3. Can we just show this? This is fascinating. And now, yeah, I mean, g5 straight away is the problem. Otherwise, there's a very funny pin. With bishop takes d4, rook takes d4. Optically, it looks very strange, but actually, it actually just about works for white. Yeah, but g5 is the move.
Yeah, g5 is the problem. Yeah, so of course, white plays the move b4. We are expecting the move bishop e7. No, bishop d6. Wow, bishop d6? Really? I mean, Magnus seems to be tempting fate here. I mean, bishop e7.
But I wonder after bishop e7 whether he was actually worried by that simple move, queen g3, exchanging queens, and the knight could just drop back to b3 and then b6 is actually a very weak pawn. I mean, it feels like white basically has a very pleasant advantage there.
Yeah, it's I mean, basically white got wonderful construction. Yeah, everything is very nice, but this bishop d6 is asking for it.
Okay, let's go to the game. So bishop d6, but it's kind of understandable why Magnus did that. You know, maybe he just felt it's necessary.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But there are some tempting options, and well, as you pointed out, yeah, rook c1 with the idea c5. But as you pointed out, there's still the trick to take on h6 if castle. Oh, well, is this possible?
Well, he wants to maybe hit on h2 as well. So
yes.
Let's just show this bishop h6. Maybe even takes on. He can just take on h6 as well. Takes and then bishop h2, and then also bishop e5 is coming back. Queen f4 is coming. I mean, this is fine for black.
Yeah.
So castles, but c5 feels like the move. I mean, c5 really feels like the move. Yeah, let's take a look. So c5, bc5, bc5 is kind of forced.
Now, where with the bishop? I mean, I suppose back to e7, because e5 feels a bit loose. Or maybe bishop e5. Maybe bishop e5, just to keep a little bit of activity.
Bishop e5, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, but okay, so I push c6.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to live with that. So the bishop goes back to c8.
I know, but Jan-Krzysztof just played the move knight b3. He's playing very systematically. He wants to push c5, but he wants to recapture with the knight. Well, very healthy, nice positional move. Only that we have seen that evolution bar was actually jumping high. That's why we suspected that c5 could have been the move. Knight b3, bishop e5, stepping out of c5, also hinting at some kind of a bishop b2 move, distracting white's harmony. Wow. Okay, it's for the moment I feel like I did not manage to anticipate a single move so far in this game.
So this introduces the very strange point that sometimes black can actually play bishop b2 to take on a3, which would be incredibly risky, but you never know. It might turn out to be.
Yeah, let's take a look. What happens after c5? I feel like if white wants something from the game, he needs to push c5.
Okay, well, I suppose that has to be taken.
Yes. Okay, bc, knight c5.
Now, there's a threat to take on e6, for example. So it feels like the queen has to move. Or do we exchange on d1 first? Maybe rook takes d1, actually.
Yeah, you take on d1. But I mean, okay, after takes on d1, maybe I just take with the rook.
Okay, well, that just takes the pressure off for a moment, and then black might have time just to play knight d5.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, but I'm slightly better, but yeah, okay, I can also take with the bishop.
I think that, I mean, that keeps the pressure up, so that maintains.
Yeah, but it's very ugly move because I might run into some queen c6 trick as well. Not yet, but if I jump somewhere, I was at least worried about, but maybe it does not work. Yeah, it's very sharp position, very hard to say anything.
Yeah, but that's tough because if the queen has to move here, then
yeah, c5 on the board. Okay, we're gonna find out. Yeah, Magnus takes on d1 immediately. Of course, this is clever because he wants to clarify already which piece recaptures on d1.
Yeah, that's more accurate, of course.
And do the down to 3 minutes. I mean, the game is only at move 21, but it shows that Yeah, it wasn't really preparation for any of the sides, and they burned a lot of time. Yeah, so after bishop takes d1, yeah, because still bishop d1 would be more or less similar to the previous move. Would Magnus just play a move like b5?
Well, and just pray that by occupying d5, he's sort of got enough.
Yeah, bishop d1 on the board, so we might get an answer. Because this bc5, knight c5 actually felt a bit irritating.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's try b5 then. Let's see if there's something here.
I mean, if I'm in time to move the bishop to d5, I think I'm fine. So I'm guessing that c6 would be... Wow, rook d8. Ah, wonderful. What a nice finesse.
Ah, so if takes, then there's queen takes c1.
Yes.
Takes on b6. Let's show that. And mate, wow. Okay, so Magnus is just kind of activating as much as possible.
Wow, rook d8. And then, okay, if white moves back the bishop to e2, which probably will follow.
Well, then he might go for your b5.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, bishop e2 on the board. And then already with rook on d8, still the same c6 will be a question. But that's also very risky for white. Because that c6 pawn can be real weakness. Yeah, b5 on the board. At least finally one move. Okay, I'm very happy. One move in this game and c6. Okay, the second move and maybe this c6 move is a terrible move. But if not for c6, then black would just be perfectly fine. It's the only critical move.
But this is an incredible risk.
Well, if I lose the pawn, but I still feel like, you know, I should be somehow able to having bishop fc, knight a5.
Well,
maybe
I mean,
knight c5 somewhere.
I actually, you know, I meant for both players. You know, Magnus allowing this. Yeah, I mean, we could start with bishop f3, certainly.
Yeah, somehow I don't believe that black has time to go for bishop b2 pawn hunting. I mean, this doesn't feel right, because now after his bishop is compromised, he needs this bishop on e5. Yeah, this bishop has to stay here. Yeah, so bishop a8. Well, bishop fc, very natural, and then knight d5 would be the natural response.
Yep.
Closing the bishop. No, Duda goes knight a5 first. Knight a5, still knight d5. I mean, okay, this is now the moment I'm trying to use for natural moves. I can get one more move. I mean, okay, knight d5 is begging to be played.
And how do we get rid of the queen from c7? That's not easy.
Yeah, knight d5 and bishop fc. Wow, I mean, so Duda is allowing knight takes e3, f e3, ruining his pawn structure. But he now relies on the fact that this bishop is kind of doomed and trapped on a8.
Very interesting.
Wow. Yeah, Magnus takes, of course. It's just impossible not to spoil this pawn structure. And okay, this is now really a jolly joker, this bishop on e5. Rook d3. Magnus wants to collect something.
Magnus won't be bothered about a dead bishop on a8 if he manages to counterattack and checkmate white's king, because suddenly there are weaknesses around the king.
Yeah, I mean, whenever white spoils the pawn structure with f takes e3, then his king is becoming extremely vulnerable.
I mean, I suppose you could, you know, with black, you can argue the case that the knight on a5 and the bishop on a8 kind of cancel each other out. And then we have to look at the rest of the board and you think, oh yeah, black's doing rather well there. And then we look at the pawn on c6 and I go, oh, you know, it's never black and white in chess.
Exactly, yeah. But now also, let's not forget, Duda is down to a minute and he has no stability. I mean, he has to go with the flow, but how exactly to do that? I mean, black's play seems to be so much more easier. Yeah, he's invading. He has very nice positional trumps, and white is the one who has to come up with some incredible dynamics.
It's actually very annoying that queen on h4 has to just look after the pawn on h2, and that restricts the freedom. And you know, white has to decide, you know, what do I do about that? And neither h3 nor g3 look like very nice moves. It's a tough one for white. I mean, really.
Yeah, and bishop e4 played. I mean, why is black not able just to start collecting?
Collect. Okay, which one? Pawn takes rook takes e3.
Yeah, rook e3, rook d1. Yeah, that's the move,
okay,
yeah.
that's what he wants.
That's the idea.
Yeah, fair enough.
With some ideas, but I don't know. I mean, bishop f. This is also very sharp, because if it works for white, it's fine. If it backfires, it might just be lost. Yeah, rook takes e3 on the board. Certainly Magnus wants to find out what is this. I mean, okay, rook d1 should be played, and Magnus has 5 minutes, and Jan-Krzysztof down to what? Bishop b1? I mean, but this feels like capitulation. I don't know. I mean, what is this? Now the pawn on c6 will become weak. The bishop on b1 is doing nothing. I mean, bishop on f3 was basically much more useful protecting the pawn.
I mean, maybe it's possible to change the blockader now. So, you know, we could start with queen b6, and you know, the bishop could sweep back to c4. Maybe that's not necessary. I don't know. I mean, the queen and bishop actually look so well placed.
Yeah.
So well connected. I'm just trying to think of a way forward. I
mean, okay, just to show one very funny line, that if black tries to be, yeah, Magnus opts for rook takes a3, but queen b6 check. I mean, not queen b6 check, queen b6, king h1, and if black is super tricky to, no, it does not work anyway, because I wanted to show that this is checkmate. But first of all, queen d8 was a checkmate. Yeah, this is what I wanted to highlight. Yeah, with bishop on b1. But okay, rook takes a3, rook d1 happened. Bishop f6, stopping rook d8 or queen d8, checkmate.
But it just feels like black has so many kind of bailout moves now. You know, sacking the exchange on a5 and then taking on c6, for example, is one way to go. And you know, black has so many pawns in that position. Yeah,
queen e4, g6.
Do you know what? If rook d7, that the queen can actually take the rook. Yeah. It's pinned. What a strange position.
Yeah, but in fact, strange, but maybe just completely winning for.
Just completely winning for black. Absolutely. Yeah. So all the, you know, that bishop on 8 actually plays a significant role in the game. Incredible.
Yeah, this bishop on a8 provokes all of white's action. Yeah, that's the trick.
King h1 has been played.
Yeah, king h1. I mean, okay, rook a5, b5, bishop takes c6 is kind of almost automatic win. It's 3 pawns and the better position. But maybe Magnus just feels like, hang on, there are no moves. Maybe I can just play rook c3 and then take on c6.
Yeah, or the Karpovian king g7. Oh, there you go. You fought back, Peter. You've been predicting all the moves.
Well, I mean, okay, but here it's not. It's collecting time. Yeah,
it is collecting time. Absolutely. I mean, he's doing it without any drama at all.
Yeah. I mean, black is already 2 pawns up. Yeah, he collects the third one with bishop c6 and Duda designs. Yeah, wow. This is just hopeless.
Well, once again, the critical moments, you know, Magnus came good. Just when it looked like he was rocking there, he actually came up with the goods. Let's go to back to the critical moment after basically when white pushed with c5 on move 21, and then Carlsen, which, as you pointed out, very clever to exchange on d1 first before exchanging on c5. So that white has to commit here. And then, yeah, again, a slight improvement to the position with rook d8. bishop e2, and then b5. So here is where it got absolutely critical. And I mean, maybe Carlsen's judgment was just spot on, that actually after c6, bishop a8, black has enough play with this move knight d5.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, also it's very, very tough to play this from the white side, yeah, because if you just play natural moves, then everything will work out in black's favor. So maybe if this is a classical game and you can find some computer ideas, yeah, but in a rapid play, I mean, black's play is so much more natural. I somehow felt like that this rook d8 was the key move. I mean, I think that this really had an impact on the whole game, that Magnus with rook d1, bishop d1, rook d8.
I mean, there were so many tactics that worked for black after rook d8, you know, that, and that's obviously the first one, but even after that as well. Just fantastic to see this idea. Very, very clever exchanging first. I wonder whether after c6, bishop a8, instead of knight a5, I wonder whether white should play bishop f3 first, and after knight d5, simply be very pragmatic and just take that knight off. Because it feels as though that bishop e3, bishop on e3 is kind of, you know, the key piece. Can we have a quick look at that and see if that's any better?
Yeah, takes. Well, in hindsight, everything was better than what Duda did. But at the same time, you are not feeling, you know, that you would ever give up your light square bishop as well, because now the pawn on c6 is really vulnerable. I mean, okay, you can go knight a5 now.
Let's see knight a5.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, definitely, yeah. He should have tried something like this.
But yeah,
still this bishop b2 business, of course, now without the light square bishop b2 is a possibility, but I'm still not such a big fan.
Yeah, because the rook actually has to move away from the c file. So rook c2, rook d1 mate. So yeah, rook b1.
Yeah, rook b1. So
you're actually going to take that pawn. Wow.
Okay, if I went to b2, then okay, just for illustrating purposes, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I take on a3. Otherwise, our viewers will be thinking, okay, black played bishop b2. Why is he not capturing this pawn on a3?
And now this, yeah.
And okay, maybe not just make a move like hc or queen e4. I mean, whatever, because this bishop is completely out of the game.
But then it might be possible just to play bishop takes c6.
To take on c6, yeah. So maybe then queen e4 I have to play.
And then, yeah, queen c2 might well just collect the bishop.
Exactly, just to show this that.
Oh no! Oh yeah, no. Sorry, I was dreaming something.
There is a pin, and then already next queen c3 is possible. Yeah. In any case, very, very sharp position.
And of course, absolutely not necessary to play for the pawn grab. You know, there are other moves, of course, possible for black. Yeah.
But as you say, it's a complex position.
Very, very, and absolutely not clear. It's just that the way the game went, you know, those dart squares after the bishop went, it just felt like Carlsen didn't have any problems. There's no problem with the blockade on c7. I think our producer Tad was suggesting something here.
Yeah, king f2. I mean, holding on to the e3 pawn, of course, with little time on the clock. You know, going for king f2 and then understanding that actually all is fine, with the idea that rook takes a3 is met by rook d1. Yeah, you are getting the d file, and actually a3 pawn is not important at all. But the pawn on e3 is very important to covering the dark squares. And
the king f2 looks so risky. I mean, instead of taking on a3, I mean, what happens if we just check the king? Just play rook d2.
Well, then we come back. And then we come back.
Okay, well, worst case, you could come back with rook d3, but I mean, surely there's got to be an improving move for black there.
Yeah, but apparently the line that Tadeusz was mentioning, that after king f2, black could actually take on h2. And then white plays the move king e2, hitting this rook. And if black takes on a3, then again rook d1. Whenever the rook leaves the d file, And this rook d1 creates immense counterplay.
But I don't want to leave the d file.
Yeah, okay.
And so having snatched the pawn on h2, it's time to go back home.
Yeah, rook d8, but can I go some knight b7? No, suddenly I'm insisting on some moves.
Oh, so you're going to come back to c5, are you?
No, but I mean, it's somehow nice that now I'm really forcing you. You don't have any squares left on the d file. I mean, you have to abandon.
Rook c8, rook c8.
Rook c8,
okay. It's a very strange position.
Yeah, and maybe now some rook c5. I mean, just cement everything because, I mean, what is it? Yeah,
I like it.
But also maybe a move like rook d1 is again already possible. I don't know. It's a very messy position.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm anticipating some kind of counterattack with the queen.
Yeah, in any case, king f2 was the move which is very, very difficult. Once you spot it or you know that this is computer's move and he says that, yeah, this is the way how you can get a fighting position, then it's very easy to make a case. Of course, I have to protect this pawn on e3 and I have to play like this, but over the board to come up with king f2 with 1 minute on the clock, I think it's just impossible.
Yeah. To step out into the open, waving a white handkerchief. You'd be very brave. Okay, so I think the next game will take place in round about 10 minutes. Yeah, a little 8 minutes actually. I'm being told it's 4 minutes past the hour. But we will take a short break. But just before we do that, just a little reminder of what we're playing for here. First prize, the winner gets $25,000. The runner-up, $15,000. So, well, they're guaranteed quite a reasonable payday at the end of this anyway. And of course, it is a charity event. Funds are being raised for UNICEF, United Nations Children's Fund, to help children in Ukraine. So if you'd like to support UNICEF, then do consider clicking on the link there. And so far, let me just check out the total. I shall tell you in a moment. Wow, over $103,000 have been raised. So thank you to everyone that's contributed so far. That's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so just a quick reminder, next game will be at 4 minutes past the hour, but we'll take a short break and we'll be back really soon.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. Oh, what are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
That I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Jan-Krzysztof and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it because you were in Thailand during all the match and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the two kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
it's a big pleasure to welcome both of you, and I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind-the-scenes insights. See you then.
Air quality isn't the first thing that comes to mind when you think about chess and esports, but it affects our focus, decision-making, health, sleep, and more. What's in the air you breathe? Find out with Air Things.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Krzysztof Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses.
This is John. John loves to study chess. This is David. David loves to study chess as well, but efficiently. John spends more time setting up the board and figuring out what's on the page of his book than he gets to study. David likes to take it easy and use his time wisely. David has finished his exercise for today. John should try the same.
Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game and get paired with players from around the world fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
I'm ahead of the game. Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker. But follow me. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a
Welcome back to the final of the Charity Cup, this latest event in the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour. And we've already had 2 games. First game was drawn. The second game, we've just seen Magnus Carlsen defeated Jan-Krzysztof Duda. There we have the scores on the doors. So basically, we've got 2 more games in the set. If Magnus wins this third game, he'll have won the set. That's over for today. They will play a second set, of course, whatever happens tomorrow. But Magnus looking pretty good after game 2. Peter, what's your impression so far?
Well, I mean, this second game is very tricky because as it unfolded and it ended, it's like a very, very big cold shower on Duda. I mean, it was a completely unnecessary loss. He had incredible chances to get wonderful initiatives, and then after he lost the control of the game, he just went on to lose basically already without any fight. But if he would have used his chances, then he could have maybe even won that game. So I wonder how will he recover from this? Yeah, it's not easy to recover so quickly. Yeah, immediately the next game comes, and now he has to first survive Black's game in order to get another chance with White to strike back.
And he had the problem where he was basically running pretty short of time, and couldn't, when it got really sharp, Magnus somehow knows how to keep that tension in the position, just to maintain the tension. And when it got really sharp, those critical moments with the pawn on c6, Duda collapsed completely. He just didn't have the time to dig himself out. Carlsen just understands how to maintain the tension, how to make life very, very awkward for his opponent. Interesting opening. I mean, this is very old theory. I mean, I remember this kind of stuff from the 1970s, actually.
Yeah, okay, let's start from the very beginning. So c4, knight f6. The reason why Black plays with knight f6, knight c6, e5 is to avoid the e5 g3 move order, which is slightly different, and it poses some headache usually for Black. That's why c4, knight f6, and then after knight c3, e5. Now already White's knight is compromised on c3, so g3 would give Black more options. White goes knight f3, knight c6, and g3. The old theory. Now, of course, Black has many other ways. The move d5 is a very frequent one, leading to a reverse dragon Sicilian. And we have seen millions of games here. Black is actually having quite a solid position. But Duda's move, bishop b4, is an old classical move, but we haven't seen it so often lately. Knight d5. Bishop c5, bishop g2, castles, d6, e3. Yeah, this is some theory from like 10 years ago. I think at some point this was very fashionable from White's side, and White was winning quite a lot of games with this e3 idea.
Yeah, I mean, the old way of playing was just to play d3 in that position instead of e3, actually. And it wasn't so much, you know, Black could take on d5 and then knight d4 and so on. But I mean, Black, I think optically, you know, Black is very, very comfortable there, and that's certainly borne out from the game. So yeah, e3, of course, keeps more tension in the position, going for d4.
Yeah, and I think White was doing something like b3, bishop b2, yeah, going for d4, and whenever Black is kind of provoked or forced to take on d5, then cd5, then some knight h4, f4. I do remember some games where White went on to crush Black with this kind of plan.
Okay, well, let's see. It's funny how openings go in and out of fashion. You know, if we go back to the fourth move and g3, instead of g3, well, e3 has been very popular over the last few years, and this and queen c2 and so on. Although it seemed to me that white never really got very much from these kind of positions. Black always had a lead in development. And of course, the other move on the fourth move is pawn to e4, which actually Magnus rather enjoyed playing. I think he likes these kind of fixed pawn structures in the middle of the board. That's also been tested quite frequently. Anyway, back to this one. Bishop g4.
Yeah, bishop g4, it's a very, very natural move. Yeah, trying to threaten now with e4. Definitely white will play the move hd. I think that this is the most natural move to play hd, and then ask black to decide where does this bishop move. I don't know exactly the answer.
Well, he's not going to take, is he?
No, definitely not.
Gives the bishop pair, and that's very, very comfortable for white.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what is the idea, that you want to go bishop h5, but then you might run also the probably bishop h5, because bishop f5 would be the other move, but it's a little bit, there is an argument that because of hd, then somewhere later you will get queen d7 with a tempo hitting on hd, but I'm not a believer in this finesse.
Well, Magnus hasn't played h3 yet. He's just having a little think.
Yeah, interesting that. Why they are both out of book already, or I can't believe. I think that Magnus is kind of an expert in this. I do recall him like some in 2012, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think he was playing quite a lot of this stuff with white. It was also a line that Nyapo used with white as well, and maybe it was even the times when they worked together. I do recall Jan also winning quite a lot of games with white. Yeah, hd, bishop h5 on the board. It has to be played. Yeah, now the point is that if white prematurely runs after the bishop, then it can be countered with bishop d3. Of course, this is the idea from black. Bishop h5.
So white can just preempt that and play d3.
Yes.
But then black can actually exchange on d5 and play knight e7. That's probably dug himself out of a hole like that. He's okay.
Yeah, then again, it comes down to this question that where does it lead if we threaten the bishop?
Yeah, but somehow this doesn't look so bad for black.
Yeah, absolutely not. And I'm not even planning to take on g6. I'm just keeping the option.
Yeah, because even after the exchange, the knight can find a spot on h4 and
and then f5 it might become dangerous. Yeah, okay, very interesting. Bishop h5. The big question, how to proceed. Yeah, g4 is played, so Magnus commits to g4, and after bishop g6.
That's sharp.
And goes d4. Okay, so that's his idea. Okay. I mean, black is not, because after ed4, there is a threat of bishop g5 coming. So black has to fall back with the bishop immediately to b6. But this already feels a bit shaky.
Yeah, you think so?
But okay, it's okay. You are keeping the structure.
There's tension, and I look at the pawn on g4 and I think, okay, that always gives black something. Let's see. I don't know quite how to control this with white.
Yeah, big question. If we just take on b6 and then play something like b3, it's not such a, I'm not such a big fan, but let's just mention, because okay, if I get bishop b2, then I might become a fan. But
I'm still not so worried. I don't know. Bit after b3, bishop e4. I mean, I rather like the fact that there's a semi-open a file for black.
Yeah. I hear your point, and I'm not happy taking on b6, but I'm already also worried that you might be able to hit on d5 at the right moment. Or maybe I have to wait for ed4 and then I'm gonna take on b6 and then I take knight d4. But what is my move now?
Yeah.
Should I start with b3 then?
Okay, let's try. Let's try.
But
then take on d4 now.
Yeah, take on d4, then take on b6.
Okay, let's see.
Take
knight d4.
At least I avoided your bishop e4.
That's true.
But I mean, after bc, you could have also played the move bishop e4, and I didn't know what I'm gonna do. But even this is nothing special.
Yeah, but it's a little something. I mean, that's certainly,
yeah.
That's probably, yeah. Taking on d4 gives you.
Yeah, you can make your
e4.
favorite move. Yeah, bishop e4, and it's kind of annoying. Kind of annoys me pretty much. Yeah, I don't know. It will be very interesting to see how Magnus reacts. I mean, you really need to know this position. I'm just not an expert here at all.
Black is so solid. It looks very comfortable. And Magnus obviously not feeling entirely comfortable because he's down to 10 minutes now.
Yeah, a question. Yeah, is it not the right moment maybe to take on e5? I mean, normally intuitively not, but every position is different. Maybe we can take a look. Can I take on e5? Very concrete idea.
Okay, pawn takes.
Pawn takes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but if you take with the pawn, I can go knight h4. Can I? Yes, I can.
Okay, take on d5, pawn takes, queen h4, takes on c6. Okay, let's see it.
No, I was actually hoping to be able
this
to
first. Sorry.
intermezzo, but you might have knight takes e3. You know, I'm not completely unsure of my idea. Yeah, knight g6 might be met by knight takes e3.
Queen d8, rook f d8.
Yeah, and tactics, and it seems to work for black. All right, so d5. If I don't have the move knight h4, then it's slightly premature also to release the tension so quickly. Okay, maybe takes and just b3. I don't know. Okay, Magnus takes on b6. Okay, takes, and now what is the next move? Knight h4. Okay, so that's how Magnus wants to play. Yeah, just trying to take this bishop and then slowly try to use the two bishops. Tough, very, very tough to say what is going on.
I feel like black should be fine here, but you know, black needs to disturb white's position in some way, or you know, white can just remain solid and have the bishops. So let's think, how are we going to disturb white here?
Yeah, not so simple to disturb. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, in fact, because okay, we should highlight that now after bishop e4, white actually has the move f3. I guess this is the key move, and black's bishop is in trouble. Then black has to go back.
Yeah, I was just looking at a strange idea: knight d7 in this exact position.
Oh wow! Actually, bishop e4 on the board.
Yeah, actually, f3 knight d7.
Wow!
I think it works because in this position.
Bishop d3, yeah?
d3, that's the point. That's
yes.
the point.
Yeah, lovely. This is lovely. And then, okay, but this is actually amazing chance for Duda in a sense that this is a very tricky position. Magnus is clearly not feeling so confident and comfortable in the situation, and it can easily get out of control from white. Duda is up on the clock. I mean, it might be much more important trying to use now all energy and everything in this game than wait for the white game, because this is a mess. This is a strategically very complex playable position. And as you said, White has pushed his pawn all the way to g4.
But I like it that, oh, Magnus has gone for it. So knight d7. Knight d7. It's got to be the move. Is he going to take on e4 and we get some bizarre position? But I don't like it that White...
Yeah, knight d7 on the board. All right. Yeah, and Magnus takes fe4. But this is... I want to see Magnus's face. I mean, this is definitely not something he enjoys. This is...
But I don't like it that White hasn't developed the bishop on c1. This takes time to get this into the game. Oh, okay, he's playing it already. So he wants to play bishop e1.
Yeah, or bishop c3, and he's trying to use these tactics that after ed, knight d4, there is bishop e1.
Yeah, exactly.
Double attack and winning a piece. So that's the justification. And okay, if he gets his bishop also to c3 or first kicks the queen away, but I feel like bishop c3 just protecting the d4 pawn, because one thing is for sure, White should never move this d pawn. Yeah, White has to keep this pawn on d4 to keep the tension. All right.
Really interesting position. You know, at first glance, I look at the structure and I think, oh, we feel very comfortable with White here. You know, those double d pawns look very strange. But now I'm trying to think of an active plan for Black, and it's certainly not easy.
Yeah, not easy at all. How to change the character of the position, how to change the pawn structure somehow.
Yeah, I'm looking at crazy stuff. Of course, I'm looking at crazy stuff. I'm looking at h5 and takes and then knight f6. But it feels very suspicious to me.
Yes, it's correct. I mean, it feels suspicious. Now, I don't know. Rook f5 followed by bishop e1 is also something to calculate.
Yeah, I'm wondering, you see, I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to take on d4 at some moment, but bishop e1 still seems okay.
Yeah, it traps the queen. Yeah, basically I'm starting to trap the queen. I don't know if knight takes e4, but knight e4, bishop e1, then you already have to play a move like knight g3 and it runs into pin, yeah, rook f3, and I'm collecting the piece.
I mean, this involves absolutely concrete calculation, and it could just lose on the spot for Black.
Yeah, now the big question is, yeah, how to set up the pieces, how to regroup. Yeah, because
I don't know, what's your I mean, can you think of a plan for Black? I find it really difficult.
Well, he opts for queen h6. Maybe his idea is now knight e7, knight g6, knight h4. Yeah, with the move queen h6. Right. I feel like this is somehow his plan. You asked my feeling. One of the things I was considering that maybe just to go back with the queen to e7 and then try to go knight d8, knight e6, and then also hope for some ed c5 moves to fight for the e5.
Yeah,
E5
that's nice.
Square.
That's really nice.
I mean, but it's I don't know how many moves, 4-5 moves. Meanwhile, White will also be doing something, but that was the plan that I kind of intuitively had in mind.
No, that feels really nice.
Queen h6, a4. Yeah, Magnus grabbing space. He's also activating maybe the rook, or he just wanted to make sure that his a2 pawn is not hanging.
Yeah, but also I think he wants to introduce the idea of b4 and going a5. You know, he needs to try and open things up. Otherwise, yeah, given time, then I think Black could be okay here, and that knight looks like it could hop back to f8, and then your maneuver knight g6, or maybe later on even taking on d4 and coming to e6 on a good day. But yeah, it feels like that's the one.
Yeah, very, very complex position. Also from White's side, it's also not actually this queen h6 is a very disturbing move because it stops White's natural reaction with bishop c3 due to the hanging e3 pawn. Queen e2 might run into a lot of things to calculate. I mean, this ed, knight takes d4. Okay, it's still met by queen d3 or queen f2. It seems like it's not working, but yeah, Magnus goes for d5. It's quite a committal decision. d5. But I have to tell you that in the line that I mentioned with queen e7 and then knight d8, I was worried that when I move the knight to d8, white will play a timely d5. That was my concern, and maybe it was also Duda's concern. He wanted to have knight e7 ready after d5. Maybe actually white should just not even try to open anything. He should just try to, you know, very slowly play. Okay, white should put the pawn to b4. I guess that's sure. Maybe queen e2, then bishop e1, just to control some squares here. But yeah, knight will land on h4, and then how do we react to that? Yeah, that will be the big question.
Yeah, but maybe it's not such a big deal, because actually, how does black follow it up? You know, there's no pawn break, basically, that black has. So, you know, maybe, you know, white doesn't need to panic.
No, definitely white doesn't need to panic.
Okay.
And Magnus will definitely not panic. I mean, he thinks that he's probably slightly better.
You've never heard anyone say, I recommend panic.
not in this position. Yeah,
No,
queen
not
f3.
here.
Actually, a very nice tempo. Yeah, because it hits f7. Kind of, we expect the move rook f8, moving back, protecting. And then also white, for example, has one argument that with queen g3, knight g6, bishop e1, he can stop the h4 square. I mean, he can control the h4 square and then threaten himself with h4. It's a possibility. It brings to my mind the question. Okay, first of all, there are some jumps with knight to c5, attacking the pawns, threatening to invade with knight d3.
So should we start with b4 anyway? I mean, I don't see that.
Yeah, b3. Magnus plays b3. He wants to. Okay. He wants to protect the a4 pawn, and he says that he will probably just play rook b1, protecting b3.
Very calm indeed.
Yeah, but I'm not getting, because knight c5. Yeah, rook b1 already. You never will have the move b4 because a4 will be hanging. Now this knight moves to h4. I mean, I kind of feel like I might be just locking this position down.
So maybe an over finesse.
Could easily be, but now I'm very happy from black side. Yeah, I don't like this queen f3 b3 combo, not at all. Rook b1, knight g6. Yeah, on the board. Now black is in time to reach h4, and the pawn on e4 will be vulnerable. So in fact, it might look strange that this wonderful knight is threatening to trade the bad bishop, but who will protect the e4 pawn? Then some queen g6 is coming. Yeah, so knight h4, bishop h1. That's Magnus's idea. Knight h4, bishop h1. Keeping the e4 pawn under control.
Now black has to make a big decision. Does he actually go, does he, you know, if the knight is attacked with bishop e1, does he play g5?
Yes, I think he goes g5, then he can also move queen g6. King
and he
g7.
still has h5.
He has h5, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think Magnus has got it wrong. This looks like black is getting control now.
Yeah, black is getting control, and he might get a chance of playing for a win without any. Yeah, I mean, without any risk.
It looks like b3 was just a kind of over finesse. b4 would have been better.
Yes, yeah, because now anyway he has a weakness, and his rook has to guard the pawn. Yeah, but this case then it would have been so much better to guard the a4 pawn and not giving black the chance jumping to c5.
How's Magnus looking? I need to see Magnus on the big. I'm looking at Magnus on my other computer. How's he looking?
I have the feeling that he should be now quite unhappy.
Yeah. No. He doesn't give that much away.
Yeah, he has the poker face, of course. Yeah.
But Jan-Krzysztof doesn't look too unhappy.
I think this is also the point that if you are not experienced online player, like for example, I know it from myself. Yeah, I hardly play, and then if I have a bad position, you can just look at me and you know exactly that Peter is in trouble, you know, and then okay, you can know that I will lose from myself. There is no need to, you know, just don't disturb me. Let me ruin my position. Yeah, knight h4, bishop h1. I believe that. I mean, okay, there is a move g5. You know, from white side but g5, queen h5. If you can't tap those pieces, then it's a weakness. So yeah, Magnus goes bishop h1. So he's hoping that he will set up some kind of a fortress. Yeah, but okay, I mean, I would love to be black here.
Yeah, but that is a very straightforward plan. I mean, we're kind of in Nimzo territory now, aren't we?
Exactly.
G5, queen g6. I mean, king g7. You can always cement with f6 and then just play for h5. Feels really natural.
Yeah, and let's not forget, yeah, that even white has this terrible headache on e4.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, g5 on the board. How Magnus will you know, do magic here, I don't know. Maybe he has to go bishop b4 and take on c5. As crazy as it sounds, that you know, maybe he needs to do that and then double on the f5 with the rook and hope for a blockade.
Yeah, just lock it down, but it's not what you want to do, is it? But
definitely not.
But it might be necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so concerned of this queen g6. I mean, after queen g6, there is no way protecting the pawn, and if I lose that pawn, not only I lose that pawn, but the knight lands on e4, which is devastating.
I mean, the other way is to put a rook on f5, but actually, black doesn't even need to take that.
Yeah, but I also don't see the blockade, the complete blockade after even if I just grab the exchange. Yeah, I will still have this monster knight on c5.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this is very scary. And okay, it's up on Duda is up on the clock. He has a very nice playable position, which is very easy to play. Magnus is the one who needs to take very, very difficult decisions. I mean, we might be in for a turnaround. G5. I mean, this is what Polish fans were hoping for or dreaming of, because this is now a golden opportunity. I mean, I see the engine bar saying that white is doing absolutely fine, or maybe he needs to sacrifice the pawn. Maybe he just needs to play b4 and.
Well, I was just looking at that, but after knight takes, you know, I wanted to just double on the a file. The problem is that after rook a1, there's always the chance for black's knight to hop into b2, and worst case, you can just go b5 as well.
Exactly, yeah, but maybe, I mean, because simply queen g6 is such a big threat, yeah, that this b4, knight a4, even maybe just rook b3, I mean, whatever, but you should just stop it. Wow, I mean, we are getting the message from Telias that computer just shuffles around with bishop b4, bishop e1, king h2. Well, that's exactly the scenario how I'm imagining that, yeah, Magnus goes for bishop e1, how black can actually maybe practically win this game. Okay, queen g6. What's wrong with queen queen g6, queen h2, is that the idea? I don't know. What else?
And what happens on knight takes?
Yeah, then I thought like bishop h4, gh, but nothing changes. Then knight is starting to jump to g3 as well.
Oh, there is rook f5. So queen h2, knight e4 takes on h4, and then rook f5.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, I have knight g3.
Oh, knight g3.
I have knight g3. I mean,
well,
I don't know. It's not a big question, and I believe that we're gonna see queen g6.
Oh, I'm getting a hint. Yes, rook f5 first. So yeah, queen h2, knight e4, rook f5.
Oh my god. Okay, but f5. you have to see this. This is some incredible beauty. This is something incredible. I mean, if Magnus sees this, he he senses the moment, and for example, Duda sees it, it's sensational.
Yeah, this of course, this is our producer's suggestion, or our producer's computer suggestion.
Yeah, it's some super engine, you know, that's a super engine, I guess, running there.
Well, that's a clever idea. And then if the knight goes back to c5, then white can take on h4 and get some initiative on the king side.
Yeah, then this is a different story. Wow, and Magnus spent a lot of time. He might have spotted it, but this is, if he really spotted it, that's sensational. Okay, if black is worried of this plan, then he also has the move knight d3. But knight d3, bishop d2, and then knight c5 already just repeating doesn't feel satisfactory for black, especially knowing the match situation. He has to try to search for some way to get the game going. So let's just again show this, because this is sensational stuff. So queen g6, threatening the pawn on e4. There is no way of protecting it. Queen h2, targeting the knight on h4. After knight takes e4, taking on h4 is not good, because then black gets access to the g3 square. So the stunning move is rook f5, because knight takes f5 runs into bishop takes e4, winning material due to the pin. Both knights are getting lost. And after rook f5, yeah, knight d3 is played. If rook f5 happens, so here rook f5, knight c5, then it's already a different story. Now white takes, and then probably goes queen f2, also somewhere then already b4, and then bishop e4 will be very dangerous. I mean, a lot of counterplay for white. So knight d3 on the board, professional move. But after bishop d2, then, because b4 is a threat, right? So if bishop moves back to d2, I can't really start with queen g6, because then b4 might be very unpleasant, and rook b3.
Yeah, just trapping the knight.
Yeah, takes rook b3, and
okay, so bishop d2 and the knight goes back. Are you telling me he's played bishop c3 and the knight went back? Anyway, yeah, b4 was in any case a threat.
Yes.
So is this a little bit of a repetition coming? Maybe let's find out.
Well, now queen g6 is definitely again a very, very big threat.
Okay, so bishop e1, we're back to square one.
With bishop e1 we are back. Yeah, now it's also psychology involved. Yeah, Magnus starts with queen h2, indicating that no, I have spotted, and this already shows that Magnus has spotted this stunning rook f5 move. That's why he's so confident, because now after queen g6, bishop e1, he gets into the same position, and Duda of course foresees this as well, and he goes king g7.
Yeah, and the point is, in that variation with the queen on g6, then the knight can't retreat back to g6, basically. That would be fine.
And also now there is no need to retreat, because the queen is still protecting the h4 knight. Yeah. And okay, maybe black just says like, okay, you know what? Yeah, you find this brilliant idea, you are not worse, but how do you break? f6, tiny bit early for my taste, but yeah, queen c2, and now Magnus will get exactly what he wants. Now maybe rook back to a1 and then b4, and he might wow, I mean, he might
maybe it's not such a big deal anyway. Yeah, the knight has to go back.
Yeah, bishop g2, and
there's this peculiar traffic jam on the king side. I mean, h5 is not going to happen for a very long time anyway. So maybe with that clever little tactical idea, Magnus has just played his way out of trouble. So he's bought himself some time, and he can return to rook a1 and b4 to expel the knight. But straight away, yes, knight takes rook a1.
Yes, and then b5, cb5, and the queen attacks. Let's just show this quickly. Knight a4, rook a1, b5 takes, and both knight on a4 and pawn on c7 are hanging. So yeah, knight d7, a5 blitzed out. It's also incredible that once Magnus, he spent a lot of time for this bishop h1, bishop e1, queen h2 idea. But once he managed to stabilize his position ever since he blitzed out everything. Yeah, everything comes so natural. He knows exactly that this is the way how he has to proceed. He has stabilized it. It almost feels like White has done 6-7 extra moves. And meantime, wow, now there is also c5, no? B takes a5, now c5 is very tempting. Just break it. And the reason I did not like f6 so early, because it's very compromising.
Oh, that's so interesting. So a takes b4, takes on d6, queen c7, and well, you said it. Suddenly the 7th rank is exposed. I mean, it's incredible. And d6 is hanging once that drops.
And c5 on the board.
Oh, that's incredible! Wow. And Magnus takes advantage of the fact that queen is just up a blind alley on h6. It's going absolutely nowhere. I mean, this is remarkable how Magnus has managed to, from nowhere, grab the initiative. And now, well, I mean, I would say all 3 results are possible.
No, I would say that only 2. I mean, now
only 2. You think this is just good for White?
Yeah, total control. And you remember, I was very scared for White, and I was saying that we might see a turnaround. Well, now we see a real turnaround. Magnus in the driving seat, and I don't know. Black is fighting for his life. The problem is that after a move like rook fc8, which would stop, that runs into c6.
Ah, that's the move I wanted to make. So okay, let me have a think.
And then takes. Knight b6 runs into b takes a5. It's not possible, and knight b8 runs into b5, and then the knight is locked. Everything is locked forever.
This is the most bizarre position.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, what a turnaround!
Incredible turnaround.
I in fact don't see a move. Yeah, queen g6 played, trying to look for some knight takes d5 Cipolito. Yeah, this is still one little hope there, but Magnus will never ever fall for this.
Yeah, but it's a way of bringing the queen back into the position.
Yeah. It brings back with the tempo. The big question is, can White play the same?
Can you take
c6?
Anyway? Take on d6 and take
or take on d6. Yeah, both.
Yeah, take on d6, take on d5, and then we need a calm queen move somewhere.
Just queen d3 or
queen d3, c6.
Wow, c6. Yeah, that's a nice.
But then White takes. Then White would take on a5, and b7 is hanging.
Yeah, there are many problems. Yeah, cd6 on the board.
So actually, that still looked good for White. In fact, the knight would be trapped. The knight. Let's just show that knight d5, queen d3, for example. c6, and then you take on a5, and actually all White needs to do is move the queen away, let's say to b3, and the knight actually on d5 has no squares.
Yeah, we might be seeing this because knight takes d5 is on the board. I mean, black had to play the move knight d5 because after cd6, queen c7, there will be no more tricks. I mean, rook fd8 is met by queen takes d6, and without knight takes d5, there is no way out. So Black had to use this chance.
Now, the only question is there a better queen? Is queen b3? Maybe that would force knight b4. Okay, also actually looks promising for White, queen b3.
But yeah, queen b3, I'm gonna take on b4.
Yeah, take.
And I'm somehow very happy that we are remained with this terrible bishop. Yeah.
Well, that's true, but okay, if we take on c7, depends what's going on here.
Yes, you have a lovely pawn.
It's a big pawn.
Yeah, lovely pawn. But yeah, not an easy decision. I mean, the move queen d3 somehow feels more natural. I feel like it's more natural. Besides, d takes c7 immediately is also very interesting.
Ooh,
I mean, yes. D takes c7, this line, knight takes e3, queen d2, I somehow felt like it should be very good for White. It wasn't my concern, but apparently after knight f1, the point is that queen d7 is nothing special because rook f7 or something, and it's a mess. But computer apparently just wants to take bishop takes f1 and says that it's wonderful for White.
Oof, then that bishop suddenly has a future. Wow.
Yeah, so d takes c7, very, very tempting move, yeah.
But Magnus is down to 30 seconds. He's got no time to think about it in this such a sharp position.
Yeah, and he goes for it.
He's
and DC A4 blitzed out immediately. So Duda actually wants to rely on knight 5 b6 defense.
Incredible.
That's why he has made sure that white will never have b takes a5.
That's such a cool move, a4.
Absolutely.
Closing the b file. I mean, that takes real nerves. Rook d1, knight b6, b5. Moves coming thick and fast.
Opening up the way for the bishop.
And Duda still has 2 minutes left compared to Carlsen's 37 seconds.
Yeah, but this b5 was, of course, a very, very strong move. Now, bishop b4, rook d6, invading, or also he has the chance of going bishop b4, bishop d6, protecting the pawn if necessary.
Okay, bishop b4, rook is attacked, so presumably rook c8.
Yeah, rook fc8. I mean, black has also brought back his queen. Rook d3.
So Magnus puts the brakes on, just to make sure the a pawn isn't advancing, because it could go all the way to a2 actually.
Yeah, rook d3, and also preparing now rook fd1, and then also bishop f1. Yeah, bringing all the pieces into the game. And well, black needs some incredible regrouping in order to also target the c7 pawn and somehow get his forces. Maybe a knight c4 only move. Knight c4 only move, we are being told. It's a game changer, yeah, because knight c4, it allows intuitively you first think like it's impossible, but when you notice that suddenly after rook c7 you open up the position and suddenly you get control.
Oh,
but you have to spot it. It's not easy move at all. Knight c4.
I think he's going to see it. I think Duda is going to find it, because the thing is here, what else does black have? Black needs to start looking for these kind of moves. I don't see a good move for black otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point, that simply by elimination, no, he goes a3, he does not spot knight c4. I mean, this is always very tricky. Once people tell you that knight c4 is a move, then you think like, it's so natural. But,
yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, it does not cross our minds at all. Bishop takes a3, and now knight c4. He opened. It shows that he had knight c4 in front of his eyes, but he wanted to make sure that the bishop on a3 is hanging. But now, of course, white will not take on d7. Because
what about here? You can play bishop d6.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to hold.
But bishop d6, knight db6. Then I'm regrouping.
Yeah, but at least white has hung on to that c pawn.
Okay, this is still very messy, and Magnus down to 7. Anything can happen here.
Oh, he's
loving this. He goes for rook d7. Yeah, and he wants to lock it with b6. After rook a3, b6 probably, just to cement his pawn on c7.
Again, it's just these very pragmatic choices.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, okay, with 15 seconds on the clock, he needs clarity. Yeah, he knows very well that he needs clarity, and here he got extra seconds. Yeah, 20 seconds. And also he knows exactly that if he gets b6 in, then he should be safe.
Yeah, but
he's threatening queen d5.
Ah, that's the move. Yeah.
I mean, rook e3 can be met by queen d5, I guess. Yeah, rook d3 stopping queen d5. Very clever. Practically speaking, I think the only move.
This is tricky because white's king is not as secure as Magnus might like. Rook b1, okay.
Yeah, he prepares bishop f1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, okay, Duda will have to play, and he prepares bishop f1, rook d2, and then rook b5, and then rook d5. That's the idea. Oof. Wow. With few seconds on the clock, seeing all this and amazing stuff.
This really is incredible, because, I mean, white's position can fall apart so easily still.
But we can also look at Magnus, I mean, how concentrated he is. And now Duda is also down to 30 seconds. Oof. Yeah, rook d2 played. Bishop f3. So not bishop f1, but bishop f3. Slightly surprising, I have to say,
Yeah.
slightly. But he wants to make sure that if the rook moves, then he has rook d1, queen d6. I'm loving this move because eyes queen a3, queen e3, bishop e2, opening up the way for white's king to protect that weak pawn on e3 with king
Wow,
f2.
so that's Magnus's idea.
Yeah. And then maybe king f2 and then king e1, trapping the rook on d2. There is also this idea. Yeah, queen a3, king f2 will be played. What a harmony. What a
Yeah.
harmony.
And rook b3, rook d3 as well.
Yeah.
To exchange off.
Everything.
But everything, yeah, queen e6 is possible.
Yeah, and everything is protected. Yeah, Duda down to 7 seconds and his position is falling apart. Yeah, rook d6, stopping queen e6. Queen b4, yeah, Magnus forces the trade of queens, and then also some bishop a6, b8, b7 will decide the game. That's it.
Duda shaking his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, which actually means that Magnus seals set 1 immediately if he wins this.
Yeah, bishop a6, he's got to watch out for rook b6, actually.
Yeah, that's why Magnus is not getting...
Yeah, but bishop d5, of course, is
Yeah.
the way to go, yeah.
Yeah, and now we can see the body language of Magnus. He knows that. Yeah, thank you very much. That's it.
What an extraordinary fight. Again, it seems to have turned at a couple of critical moments. Oh, watch out for some perpetuals. Or
Yeah.
even mate on g2.
Yes, let's just show that. But okay, we don't have time. Rook b2
No.
covering the second rank.
When the game's over.
Point was that after bishop b7, yeah, and Duda resigns.
Wow.
Let's just show this for a second, that bishop b7 would have been premature because check, king fc, rook dd2, and after c8 queen, suddenly black gives checkmate like this. Yeah. That's rook b2 professional.
It's funny, you know, it's the first thing that this nightmare checkmate, it's the first thing that hits my mind. You know, I don't even kind of look for, oh yeah, Magnus is okay. I just kind of go, wow.
Exactly.
But rook b2, very, very cool move. Wow. I mean, I don't know, feel sorry for Jan-Krzysztof there, because that was such an interesting position. He must have been fine somehow.
Absolutely, but this was Magnus's magic. I mean, spotting this bishop e1, queen h2, and after also not repeating, yeah, because he has already foreseen this queen h2. I mean, I feel like this was incredible mastery and one of the most impressive games that I have seen from Magnus, because with few, I mean, he had like 2 minutes on the clock or 3 minutes. Coming up with this incredible deep plan was really stunning.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Such a complicated position, actually, where, you know, it wasn't clear whether black was going to regroup successfully on the king side and get in h5, and, you know, did white need to just play for some kind of blockade, but in the end, yeah, Magnus found this dynamic way to break on the queen side. Even then, it really wasn't clear. Golly.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, I'm now trying to... okay.
I think we're going to cut to the Oslo studio for a little interview with Magnus.
As white, that's not something you necessarily expect, but yeah, overall, I'm fairly happy with the way that I fought today. I thought the last, well, I mean the first game as well, but I thought the last 2 games were exceptionally interesting from a strategic point of view. Unfortunately, neither of us really had enough time to grasp all the subtleties at the critical moments, but nevertheless, it was fascinating.
Definitely, and I'm being informed right now, Magnus, that you now have 2873 in the tour rating, getting quite close to 2,900 now. How happy are you about that number?
Yeah, that's improving improving a lot, of course, especially because of the results in the knockouts. I think in the preliminaries it's been considerably less, but yeah, overall it's just a sign that I'm playing pretty well now.
Yeah, and you seem also very relaxed playing your fantastic chess. Are you enjoying this?
Yeah, I would say the last 2 days have been very, very tense, but still enjoyable because the chess is very interesting.
And Magnus, now that you've got a lead, what's your approach going to be tomorrow? Are you just going to keep doing the same thing? Anything special planned?
Yeah, I think it's hard to just engineer four draws easily. So I think I will just continue in the same vein, try and play, and we'll see what happens. And as you could see in the third game, I wasn't particularly playing for a draw, even though it would have been a good result in the match. So yeah, just trying to play.
Now, we did see those big risks from you, Magnus. Was that a conscious match strategy already in game one and the rest of the games as well?
Was I risking anything in game one?
Not that way, maybe.
We actually were surprised, you know, that because we thought you played very hard in the game one,
yeah,
and where we thought you would bail out a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Of course, if one or two tactics fall a bit differently, it might be dangerous. But I didn't really feel that it was a problem.
All right. Well, what a great day, Magnus. Congratulations and good luck in the final match tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Good luck.
Wow. What a day by Magnus Carlsen, I have to say.
Well, Magnus did look very, very comfortable there, very confident, very relaxed. Yeah, as he said, very interesting positions from a strategic point of view, but there just simply wasn't time to go into it in any depth. But it did feel as though Jan-Krzysztof did have his chances in this third game. Don't know, Peter, is there any other moments that, you know, we were just looking at a particular moment in this game. Is there any other moment that caught your eye that maybe Jan-Krzysztof could have done better?
Yeah, well, first of all, I really have this impression that I understand why Magnus is so happy, because we have seen 3 incredible games. I mean, they were very, very intense. Now Magnus is very relieved, I think, because everything worked out perfectly. He won 2.5 halves. But, I mean, the games were super exciting. Of course, as he said, here in the third game, he has spotted this idea and then he did not want to repeat. Yeah, because we have to show one more time that here after the move G5, I think this is the critical moment, and it could have been so easy to fall into some kind of a panic. Black is coming with Queen G6, targeting the pawn on E4, and how do you defend it? And Magnus finding this Bishop E1 idea with Queen G6 meeting with Queen H2, Knight takes E4, and then here this incredible Rook F5 move you have to 4C, otherwise nothing makes sense. And all of a sudden this Knight C5, Bishop takes H4, G takes H4 position. I don't know how dangerous it is. It certainly feels that suddenly White has initiative. Maybe White just plays the move Queen F2, targeting the H4 pawn, and then Rook G5 will start to, yeah, it's very unpleasant for Black. But this was the game changer, because after Bishop E1, once Magnus found it, and he was actually 3 minutes behind on the clock. Now, after Knight D3, which Duda played, Bishop C3, Knight C5, Duda kind of offered the repetition of moves, and Magnus already was confident enough in this line to understand that he can go Queen H2. So after Queen H2, he then suddenly, okay, Black should have not, now that we know this King G7, F6, everything was too slow, he should have probably moved the Queen to G6 and then try to get H5 in somehow quicker.
But
Yes.
what I find interesting is that, having invested that time into finding this beautiful resource with this move rook f5, after that, when his moment came along, he seized it so quickly. Magnus recognized just so quickly that he could actually take the initiative. I mean, I find that just incredibly impressive. And in fact, not just in this game, but in game 2 as well. It just turned in a moment. Incredible
exactly.
judgment.
But talking about the second game, I would like to jump back there if we can.
Yeah,
because
sure.
there was a very, I mean, first of all, here we have seen that Magnus got careless with h6, dc5, bishop c5, knight d4, and after a6 there was this incredible moment for Jan-Krzysztof Duda to play bishop f4, which would have put black in a very, very ugly situation, because the move queen e7, which would be the natural move, runs into knight b3, and after losing the dark square bishop, basically the game is strategically lost. White is threatening to enter with the bishop to d6. Maybe you already have to play a move like e5, but okay, this is just a terrible position strategically. This was a big moment for Duda, that the match situation was equal at this moment. He had the chance to grab the initiative with bishop f4, and there was another golden opportunity later in this game after a3, rook d8, b4, bishop d6, rook a c1, castles, that he could have played the move c5 here, c4, c5, which was hanging in the air. We have been discussing it. And after bc5, bc5, actually, since Magnus is not able to take on c5, that runs into, knight takes c6 at least, but maybe knight b3 is even stronger winning material.
Yeah.
So black has to probably
So
fall back.
bishop e5.
Yeah, bishop e5, and then okay, just c6. I mean, it's looking.
Yeah, bishop c8.
Yeah, and now I just this is a completely different story. I mean, I have total control from white side. I don't know. I mean,
well, you say total control, but is it so clear? I mean,
okay, let me play a move like knight f3. Can I do this?
Okay, well, I'm going to do the Magnus recipe and take on d1.
Yes,
first,
bishop d1.
And then put the bishop back on d6.
Yeah, and now bishop takes h6.
Oh, that was unfortunate. That
yeah,
dropped
I mean,
off when I wasn't
whenever
noticing.
I hit your bishop, then this comes, yeah?
Yeah, so I should have played bishop b2 instead.
Yeah, but also after bishop b2, I'm just kicking you away with rook c2.
Yeah, and now bishop takes a3.
Then I again hit you on h6.
Okay, but at least, there's material parity.
Ah, you have queen d8. You have queen d8 here.
Oh, that's a nice one.
that's a game changer. Yes, saving you. I have queen a1, but okay, this is already unclear position. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is everything to fight for. Then bishop is falling back to e7, f6, and yeah, this is a mess.
I mean,
but in any case, it looked very suspicious for black.
No, I agree. Of course, this is, of course, scrambling for black when you have to put the bishop back on c8. But all I'm saying is, it's not cut and dried, because black does have the d5 square, for example, for the knight, and it's not over yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically, one needs to be very, very energetic with white. There is also another line that if you go back bishop e7, then I should not rush with c6, because then c6, bishop c8, suddenly you are safe on f6. You want knight d5 plus my a3 pawn is also hanging, but after bishop e7, I have queen g3, and this is lovely.
Yes.
Forcing the trade of queens, and that's why, of course, you wanted to go bishop e5, yeah, not to allow this.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I mean, really complex games, even going through them again now, we're skirting over these moments.
Hang on, Danny. We still own something from the very first game. You remember we talked about that. There was this moment.
Yes.
There was this moment. Let me find it.
Which moment?
Yeah, that moment in the end game. Hang on. So.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
Have you discovered something?
Exactly. I mean, here instead of rook h3 takes knight c4 a4, because I promised that in the break I'm gonna take a look what.
Oh yes.
Computer was saying, yeah. And after a4, knight d6, computer finds an I thought about this move. I'm pretty sure that Magnus as well. But as we understood, Magnus was so much focused on how to win the game that he maybe did not pay too much attention to f3 move. You know, this was the move that after f3 now white is threatening to move the bishop and black will not have this e5, e4 counterplay. So of course the question is that why isn't this pawn ending a dead draw? And then you start analyzing with the computer and then you realize some incredible finesses here. I mean, let me show you the highlights of the analyze that I very quickly made with Tadeusz. Tadeusz was helping me out. That apparently h6 immediately is very important to make sure that you play like this. And we see why, because here if white plays the move king g4, now very important to play the move a6, prophylactic. You are first of all stopping king g5, that's understandable. Now also to put pawn on a6 because after h4 the only move is king e6 to make a draw. And this is now a fortress for black. If you would play the move king d6, then white plays h5. Now, of course, if gh5, king h5, white simply wins because you can't do anything here. I'm collecting. You have to play the move g5, and then white plays king f5, and you are in Zugzwang. The king has to move, and then the pawn on e5 is falling, and the king is covering the g pawn, and white wins. So that's why this is like the systematic draw for black with h6, king e6, a6 against the plan with king g4, h4. But it might look like, okay, that's it. No, that's just the beginning to the position, because white has another plan going king g3. Let me show this. So, okay, black plays a6, the same idea. It's very natural because you stop any kind of advance there. And white moves with his king all the way to d3. Okay, black can only sit and wait here, basically. I have it from other move order. Let me show them from the other move order, but it's the same idea. Nothing changes. So black has to move. White comes with the king, then opens with e3. D takes e3, king e3. So now we achieve that we traded these pawns. Black has to sit tight because, okay, otherwise the pawn's queen. Now white goes back with his king to g4. Now he pushes h4. Again, you have to get your king to e6, otherwise king d6, h5 wins exactly the same way like in the previous line. And now the difference comes that h5, g5, b5, ab, king d6, king f5, king c5, king takes e5, king takes b5, all forced, king f6. So yes, king f6, pardon me, because I first put king f5, but Tadeusz told me, no, king f6, okay? So king f6. And the point is that now black is not able to run back with the king, yeah? Because, okay, just to show that here white has king f7 and the pawn is faster. Mm-hmm. So after king f6, black pushes g4, and now we are getting this race. And the point is that black queens first, but white queens with check. Exactly. And then the computer wins the h6 pawn and starts that queen ending. I mean, amazing pawn end game. I just wanted to share this, you know, because I felt like this is such an amazing pawn ending that we have to at least show this.
Really interesting. Yeah. I mean, in any case, f3, certainly a better practical chance than Magnus's move, where actually he lost the initiative, didn't he, basically? After the bishop moved, and then black was able to advance the pawn. Anyway.
I think that somehow my feeling was that actually Magnus was very happy here with bishop c to e4. The coach, however, for him was that I think he has just missed that after king f6, king f4, g5, king g4, black has king g6. This was the move when suddenly we felt during the game that, aha, okay, this was such an important move, because it allows black to push h5 and kick white's king away from this active post. Yeah, this king g6 was the move, which I'm not sure that Duda has foreseen before, but then in the heat of the battle, of course, he noticed it. And after h4, h5, it was clear that this is the moment when Magnus actually should have settled for a draw. Yeah, there was this moment that they could have repeated. And then he goes king g2, and after knight d6, he took on g5. And I think it was so lovely to see this in the studio, yeah, that David Havel ask Magnus that weren't you risking a little bit too much with this? And then we had all this laugh in the studio. I think it was just wonderful to see this reaction, how Magnus was also in such a fighting mood today.
Yeah, it's incredible. How well both players. I mean, that was a really interesting first game because it felt at some moments as though Magnus was going to get control in the end game, but Jan-Krzysztof found a way to create enough counterplay and to hold the balance. Yeah, very.
And then let me show back this
Sure.
final position, because I feel like this is also such a study-like position, that it looks like white should be lost, but no, actually, it's incredible that the black knight is not able to join the battle because it has to stop the pawn on b6. One has the feeling like, okay, in pawn end games, always you have the chance of, using some extra move and you will put your opponent in Zugzwang. But somehow exactly with this pawn structure, it does not work for black because as the game showed, finally, always white has, they move then to this position. And white has two squares, king f4 and king f3 back, and there is no Zugzwang. So no matter how much the knight is moving, of course, knight e6 check, king f3, now the problem is that b7 is threatened. I just feel like already this first game really set the tone, and we have witnessed 3 incredible, entertaining games.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Well, thanks, Peter, for your insights again. Great fun, really entertaining. But Magnus Carlsen wins the first set. So we have a situation where Jan-Krzysztof Duda must win in the 4-game match tomorrow to tie, and then we would go into a tiebreak. But do join us again for that to see whether Jan-Krzysztof can fight back. So it's at 1800 hours Central European time is the kickoff for game 1. And please do join us. And well, it's been a fantastic event so far. So anyway, once again, Peter, thanks so much for your company and your insights. And hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, definitely you don't want to miss this action. I mean, we have seen 3 incredible games today, and we are in for an incredible treat tomorrow. So come back to us and we're going to watch it together. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging me. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
That I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Jan-Krzysztof, and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it because you were in Thailand during all the match and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the 2 kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
It's a big pleasure to welcome both of you. And I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind the scenes insights. See you then.